A healer named Oran Dora sits at a table when someone steps up and greets him, and Oran immediately snaps, asking what's wrong. He figures they're ready for the next expedition and tells them to wait a little. Then his companions barge in, interrupt Oran, and tell him they're forcing him to leave their group starting today. The boy confronts Oliver Cadiff, the team's swordsman, asking if their words are just a joke, but Oliver shuts it down fast, insisting with total certainty that it's not a joke, not even close. Oran snaps, demanding to know why they want to quit the team, because they've been friends since childhood, and he's been Oliver's loyal comrade this entire time. He shoots back that Oran only ended up in the group because they're from the same village, but they're convinced he's too slow to ever last with them. Oliver admits he's got no real talent left, then tells Oran to get out of the group. Oran sat there, staring into the past, realizing the crew was forged by him and Oliver 8 years ago when they were just 10, and now they've grown up to call themselves the Heroes Union, a name that pulls in crowds like crazy. In the southern Great Labyrinth, where nobody had ever found the end, their crew hit an unheard-of level 94, and shot up to S rank in just a couple years. So when Oliver spoke up, he shot back that he might not be as capable, but that same hit landed on all the other participants too. The young man insists that if nothing shifts, their strategy won't budge, then Oliver cuts him off mid-sentence. The swordsman steps forward, declares he's their healer who unleashes support magic, then admits he never realized just how huge that power could be. While subduing a dragon last month, Oliver suddenly realized, when the dust cleared, that a good healer isn't just helpful to them, it's everything. Oliver leaned in and told Oran straight up. His support magic was weak compared to the other S-rank healers. Oran's convinced he's naturally beneath them, so when his specialty is swordsman magic, he channels that insecurity into developing his own brand of original spells, until one of his rude comrades barrels in and cuts him off. Derek Maudsley, the tank of the group, sits up and blurts that he became a healer only because his own skills pale in comparison to Oliver's. Derek insists that ever since he became a healer, his powers slipped even more, and he says he has zero right to complain. Oran tried to sell it by saying their crew needed a healer, and since he was the best fit in the squad, he stepped up. He swears his magical technique makes up for everything he lacks, and that's exactly why he managed to survive down in the labyrinth's darkest depths. The young man whips toward Oliver, begging him to keep going, but the swordsman cuts him off. Oliver snaps that they're a band of heroes and they've got to move on. Oliver blurted that he'd found someone to take over as the healer. He hated it, sure, but it was real, and those words hit Oran like a punch to the chest. Oran wrestled with his feelings for his brothers, the ones who'd stood by him for ages, and finally admitted to himself that they didn't need him. The young man realizes they've already picked his replacement, so there's no place left for him. He snaps that he's leaving, because up to now, they've just been taking care of him. He storms out, and just as he's gone, he hears someone blurt out how happy they are, then declare life will be way better without him. Mage and Neri Wilds tell him straight, even if he swears he can do magic and swordsmanship at once, he's still just an A-ranker, and Neri's sick to death of seeing tricks like that. She needles him, smirking, asking if Oran even knows what people say about guys like him. Anari snaps back that they're called Jack of all trades, but master of nothing. The girl tells him from now on be careful, and he shuts her down flat, no debate, just a cold, categorical refusal. Oran can't stop thinking that his squad has always seen him as their guy, the one who's supposed to serve, no questions asked, and he's left wondering why that's his fate, and who, if anyone, would ever want to join a crew like this. The next day at noon, Oran jolts awake and realizes he overslept. He'd barely made it to the hotel and crashed early. Now he stares at the ceiling, still unsure what to do next. He's telling himself he can coast for a bit with zero problems. Then reality hits, and he starts panicking about how he'll actually earn a living now, until he lands on 3 options. First, just like before, he lands on the explorer path. Trek labyrinths worldwide, grab whatever he finds, and cash in by selling it. The second thing he's considering is grabbing some kind of job, and even if his pay slips, his life will finally feel steady instead of chaotic. So his final shot is becoming a trader. He thinks he could rake in serious cash, but deep down he knows the odds are brutally against him. He finally snaps to a clear conclusion. If this is the choice, then there's only one path left, the researcher's work. And once that young man gets a grip on his own heart, he admits it to himself. He doesn't chase riches at all. He came to this city to become a researcher. He still remembers how it all began with Oliver, but when the roads split, he refused to follow, so he grabbed his fate and became an adventurer. Oran grabs his sword, and it hits him. Becoming an adventurer was his choice, his freedom all along, so he doesn't have to cling to the group's obligations anymore. Staring at that sword like it's calling his name, he decides he's going back to being a swordsman, no more hesitation, because he'll need to rebuild his intuition, and honestly, It's worth heading straight to the brand new labyrinth nearby and finding out. Oren and the guild staff are posted by the labyrinth entrance when the girl blurts out, confused, if he's really going to head in alone. Then Oren nods, says yes and fires back, asking if there's even a problem with that. He asks whether the regulations have any problems, and she snaps back that it's a dangerous place, then tells him to go only after he's managed to form a group. Oren thanks her for the advice, brushes it off like it's nothing, then leans in and asks if she's checked the guild map he gave her, right this time. The girl grabs the map and studies it again. The guild staff stares when Oren hits level 94, and the girl snaps into a deep bow, spilling out a fast apology, admitting her advice was wrong, while Oren, stunned by her reaction, immediately tells her it's all okay. He asks if he can come in and the girl, awkward as hell, hands the card back and says, yeah of course, come in. Oren snaps his head back when the girl yells, be careful, and he can't shake the thought that this sudden turn is all about the cash, especially after the hero group threw him out. He roams the first floor of the labyrinth, and right ahead, a horned rabbit stares him down. A demonic monster lunges at Oren, and the boy erupts with joy, thinking, if it's strong enough, this is my chance to prove my sword skills. A horned rabbit rockets toward Oren, and the boy slashes straight through it, splitting it clean in two, and the swordsman grins wide, thrilled that his training held strong and left him with nothing to worry about. He thinks this is a solid start, but he can't stop. He has to push even deeper and bring his instincts all the way back. On the third floor of the labyrinth, he runs into even more entities, but he can feel it, their numbers keep climbing, and yet they're still flimsy up here. Facing a swarm of demonic entities, the young man clenches his fists and decides, this is the moment to put his support magic to the test. Support magic is the kind of magic that boosts your strength and supercharges your gear, and it can even heal your party and yourself. So Oren wastes no time and starts pumping up his power. The moment the activation finishes, it hits him. Now he has to fight them, and he charges straight at the demonic creatures. The young man mows through his opponents in a blink, then grins at how handy support magic is, because it's awesome, yet it has cracks that can bite you. He swears the real weak spot in support magic is the clock, then wipes out the monsters in a blistering 3 minutes, only to hate that it barely took any time at all. He spots a few monsters still crawling on the floor, and he decides to push his training just a bit harder before they move again. He keeps mowing down monster after monster, and while he does, he can't stop thinking about one terrifying truth. Support magic doesn't last the same for everyone. The time swings based on your magic resistance. His is locked at just 180 seconds. That upgrade is about to die in just 3 seconds, but he doesn't stop. He keeps hammering the monsters, syncing his moves with the buff, and even slips in the right calls to back up his teammates while he fights. As Oren battles, he swears that every healer who wields support magic gets chased by time itself. He steamrolls every monster, and when it's over, he realizes his intuition has skyrocketed, 20 times stronger than before, and now he's fighting with a hybrid style that blends a swordsman's precision with a healer's power. Oren grins because his powers finally make sense. He's got them nailed down now. The young man replays his old squadmate's words in his head, and they finally hit. She was right. He can do more than he ever proved. He just never managed to finish anything. Clenching the hilt of his sword even harder, he swears that if this keeps going, he'll never be anything more than a man who tries and fails. So he decides he'll become an adventurer, the one they'll call the Jack of all trades. Oren just stormed into the 7th level of the labyrinth, closing in on the crystal that clocks every adventurer's jump to the next floor. He's there to log the transition. Suddenly, curses hit his ears. He whips around and spots another group. One of them turns to his buddies and snaps, "Don't blame him. He made the only decision that could save us." Another teammate boy screams at him, blaming him for baiting the girl into a trap and then bolting, and Oren freezes, because those words hit him, but he still can't believe he just heard them. He blurted out excuses. Monsters suddenly flooded in, he claimed, and said it only made sense to back his longtime comrades over the girl who'd just joined. Oren stands with his back to the arguing crew, listening as their heated fight spills out around him. The young man refuses to bite back. He's just a kid who's been crushed by that same group's bad luck, but he won't shrug it off like it's someone else's problem, because he knows that pain all too well. But the fact that they baited him and left him for dead won't let him look away. He doesn't even look at the guys. He snaps that he can't stand this talk, and then the team fires back, asking who he is. Oren spins toward them and snaps that they're acting like children, so instead of rushing in to help the girl, they're just standing there and whining. Oren sneers that folks like them are the worst kind of people. Then one of the team members snaps with outrage and starts throwing threats at him. He lunges at Oren and roars that they're done helping, because they already warned them that she'd be left alone like this before. The young man yanks the attacker by the arm, then smashes him in the leg, so hard he drops straight to the floor like a sack of bricks. Oren spits that he'd better lie down instead of whining in vain, then whips around to the rest of the team and snaps, "Where's the girl now?" They look at him, totally lost, and Oren leans in with a threatening glare, repeating, word for word, where they last left her. The whole detachment trembled at Oren's presence, then practically blurted out, "We've got to turn right at the end of the road and take the second alley on the left." That kid sprinted after them on the spot, while the one who caused the girl to be left to the monsters grilled him, asking if he really went to save her, and Oren snapped back that he never would have asked where she was otherwise. The girl presses to the wall, hemmed in by a swarm of monsters, and dread spikes through her as she realizes she can't beat them, because facing them alone is impossible. The girl refuses to die with regrets. She blasts magic and screams at the top of her lungs, yelling for them not to come closer, begging them to stop as she fights for her life. She raises her magical barrier with trembling hope, praying someone arrives before its power runs out. The girl sobs in total despair and shouts for her older sister, while Oran barrels through the labyrinth, grumbling under his breath, convinced that anyone who lives in peace is never the type to end up in a clique. The girl snaps at the monsters to back off, because she refuses to die, and screams for her older sister. Right then, someone pops balloon, and Oren materializes in front of her out of nowhere. The young guy tells the girl to lock onto the magical barrier, while he barrels in to deal with the orcs. With stars in her eyes, the girl stares at Oren, admires him instantly, and blurts out an immediate yes. Though she doesn't really know him, she's sure he's either a mage or a swordsman. He battles monsters and throws support magic into his strikes, boosting both strength and technique. Then Oren has to decide if he's going to back the sword up with the same magic too. The boy unleashes his damage boost, and the girl bursts into joy when she realizes he's using support magic. Oran charges into the monsters, gun counting 13 orcs as the ones he has to drop, and then he realizes, if this is some low-level party, the only smart move is to bolt. He mows down several orcs in one shot, then decides, just 10 seconds is all he needs. After seeing how fast Oren wiped out every monster, the girl can only stare, like, okay, this guy is seriously strong. After wiping out every last orc, the young man rushes to the girl and asks if she's alright, then tells her, "I can't see any injuries, but I'll heal you anyway, just in case." Oren grins sweetly as the girl stares at him, cheeks burning with disbelief. Then she drops to the floor like her world just shattered, unable to accept that she's actually alive. She sinks to the floor, sobbing that she was terrified, completely clueless about what she should have done, while regret and pity crawl over her like a heavy wave. The young man gently strokes the girl's head to calm her down, and in that heartbeat, she's hit by the memory of how terrified she'd been when her friends left her behind. The girl tilted her eyes up at Oren, and he yanked his hand away from her head in a flash. Then she told him, "Don't be scared to touch my head." The girl replays the whole scene in her head, and blurts out a heartfelt thanks to the young man for saving her, because in that instant, she truly believed it was all over. With a real smile lighting up her face, she says that's exactly why it felt so awesome when he showed up to help, and why in her replies, she keeps saying she's glad he offered. Suddenly, eerie noises crack the air, and the young man shoots his hand toward her, promising they'll escape before magical monsters swarm in, and when she grips him, they rise and sprint toward the magic crystal. They burst out of the labyrinth, and right by the entrance, Oren snaps that it's time, he's gotta go. The girl begs him to wait, then blurts out another huge thank you for everything he did. She leans in and admits she never even introduced herself, then drops the bomb, "I'm Sophia Cradle." Oren heard Sophia's last name, and instantly clocked the emblem stitched on her clothes. Then he snapped that it was his fault for not introducing himself sooner, and told her his name. Sophia flashes a smile, and tells him he's got a beautiful name, then turns to the young man and calls him Mr. Oren. She pulls Oren aside and invites him to dinner as a heartfelt thank you for saving her, thinking, even if it's not home-cooked, it's still worth it asterisk, because she's determined to repay him the only way she can. Oren's left completely stumped. Then he tells her he never did it expecting some big special thanks because she's already thanked him. Yet the moment he locks eyes with those pleading tears, he gives in and agrees. Oren tells her he'll gladly take the invite, and right then, he assumes he's footing the bill for both of them, while the girl beams, completely believing him. The young man leans in and asks Sophia if she's picked out where they're grabbing dinner yet. If not, he's ready to throw out a few great restaurant picks, but Sophia just smiles and tells him she already chose the perfect place. The girl blurts, "We're here," and sure enough, they're standing by a restaurant with the same emblem as on her clothes. Sophia sneers that it's a cheap place, but the food is surprisingly amazing, and the moment Oren spots that emblem, he instantly realizes they're in a rabbit joint. He figures it's only natural for someone who proudly wears their emblem, and just like he guessed, Sophia really is a seeker, tied to the silver rabbits of that huge yachting clan. Oren's mind races through the clans, because he knows it's more than muscle and names. It's an operation where researchers feed them everything they gather, then the materials get processed and sold, just like how some restaurants and department stores run their whole business. He figures this out. Because the sales money lands in the hands of clan researchers, they're able to upgrade to top-tier, better quality materials. Oren clocks it instantly. Sophia could snag the perfect crew, because that giant silver rabbit blazing in the night sky is one of the biggest clans around, and researchers flock to it non-stop. They step into the restaurant, and Oren's eyes snap to a girl at a table. Sophia strides right up to her, calls her big sister, and demands to know why she's here. Sophia's sister says she had a meeting close by, so she ditched the plan and grabbed something to eat here. The girl spots Oren lurking just behind Sophia and snaps, "Got a boyfriend?" She even blurts out that at her age it's way too soon, but she cuts herself off mid-sentence, jumps out of her chair and bolts. She fixes the young man with a razor-sharp stare, calls him by name, and snaps that it's been way too long since they last crossed paths. And in the replies, he's been calling her Selma Creddle for ages. Oren remembers it all. Selma Creddle runs the S-rank crew, the silver rabbit lighting up the night sky, and her name is only matched by Oliver, the hero's own leader. And yeah, Oren pins it on her stunning beauty and the fact that she's one of the continent's top healers. He swears she's the reason he became a healer, and the reason the hero group threw him out. He realizes she didn't just turn the healer's job into something prestigious and adored, she also sparked a brand new system for the group, pushing a split into 3 roles: tank, damage dealer and support, and the whole thing caught on fast. Oren remembers that even those heroes weren't exceptions, so he switched his specialty to healing, because when Oliver spotted her during the dragon capture last month, that was the moment he got cut off for the long haul. He figured it was just a coincidence with the same last names. Then bam, she turned out to be Sophia's older sister. Oren can't figure out why Selma glares at him so bitterly. Then she snaps, furious, claiming he's fallen for her gorgeous 14-year-old sister. She leans in, eyes blazing, and dares him. Does he really have the guts to pull something like that? But when Selma starts talking, he's completely lost. The young man insists it was all a misunderstanding. He only meant to take her out for dinner, so he refuses to feel guilty about a thing. Selma snaps that this proves he doesn't think Sophia is good enough, and the whole mess drives Oren up the wall. Suddenly, Sophia barges in mid-argument, snaps that Selma shouldn't disrespect her savior, and Selma fires back, asking if he truly saved her. She fires a question at Sophia: "Did you dive into that labyrinth alone again?" Sophia just stares, totally baffled. Selma snaps that of course she must have slipped into the labyrinth alone after all, then admits she made her wait, because starting the day after tomorrow, they'll be heading into the giant labyrinth every single day. Sophia shoots out an apology, and Oren instantly realizes she'd been combing the maze for her missing clan members. Selma can't tell if this is a blessing or a disaster, because now Sophia won't be able to act on her own anymore. Selma rushes in to thank Oren for helping her sister, then blurts out an apology for how rude she was. Oren just smiles and tells her everything's okay. Sophia urges Oren to grab a seat at the table right now, while Selma insists they all sit down together for dinner. She asks if everyone can squeeze into the same table, and they all agree, no hesitation. Oren and Selma finally talk like people, because this is the first real, normal conversation they've had since the day they attacked the dragon, when all they ever said was stuff about fighting. Oren keeps replaying the moment he first met her last month. Because they're both healers, they were paired up. Selma stepped into command, and Oren fought right beside her to back her every move. Sophia blurts out to her sister, "How long have you and Oren known each other?" And Selma freezes, because what do you mean you don't know who Oren is? Sophia says he could be some big-shot famous person, and Selma fires back, "Yep, you've got it," then adds that Oren is one of the hero's crew. Sophia freezes in shock, then blushes with embarrassment, but Oren waves it off and says it doesn't matter, because he's not with the heroes anymore. Selma blurts in shock, asking if he got kicked out of the group. Then when he says it's true, she confirms, "It happened yesterday." Selma can't stop wondering what happened to Oliver after he kicked Oren out of the group, and she's convinced Oliver should have kept Oren no matter what. She presses the boy for why he got kicked out of the group, then tells him, straight up, that some things boil down to what people are telling themselves in their own heads. Selma wrestles with it for a second, then finally decides he's free now. Oren just shrugs and says, "Yeah, I guess you could say that." Oren assumes she's trying to get him into the Silver Rabbits, then realizes, wait, he only just heard about it from the party members himself. Selma says she has no choice but to propose something to him, and right when she's about to move, Oren cuts her off on the spot, shooting back that he has zero interest in joining anything. Selma cornered Oren and asked if he thought they'd been wrong about him. Then she grinned and said this was her perfect moment to strike. Selma tells him she wants him to step into the labyrinth with her the day after tomorrow, then asks if he'll help her search Oren freezes in shock, then blurts the same question back to Selma. Oren pushes Selma again to help him search, and Selma fires back that's exactly what she's been needing. She tells them the silver rabbits up in the night sky are cooking up a fresh attack, and that's why they need A-rank adventurers and hire to drop down into the 51st floor of the Great Labyrinth in the south, right the day after tomorrow. Oren blurts out that this schedule is straight up unrealistic, 6 months to a year. Selma nods along, then tells him it's still possible as long as you take the shortest route. She blurts out that it all comes from their sponsor's nerves, and says the whole team is basically rocking the boat too. Oren points out that if their plan stinks, they might have already spilled it to their sponsor, and he can't shake the feeling they're heading there for a totally different reason. Oren thinks it through and bluntly tells them new recruits can't take down the floor bosses, but if they push into the lower floors, they'll level up the whole clan's power. Selma can't believe it. This young man cracked the truth just by talking to her, and she realizes he's way sharper than she ever expected. Oren knows this grim rule. Inside the labyrinths, you can't jump to the next floor unless you wipe out the bosses every 10 floors, and for beginners, that boss fight turns into a nightmare, where they get badly injured or even get killed. Oren snaps to it. Those seasoned adventurers nearby can guide them. So they register at the crystal and keep their hands off the fight, which basically locks beginners out of the real practice they need to level up. Selma nods along with Oren's guests, then clicks into place while they're diving into the labyrinth, so she flat out tells him she wants him right there, beside her, during the whole exploration. The girl tells Oren he needs to hear their plan, so she blurts it out to a total stranger. Selma grabs the boy's hands, and Oren's shock hits instantly. Then she turns to him and tells him, straight up, that she thinks the world of him. The girl blurts out that she only realized it during their fight together against the dragon, and Oren's jaw drops, because he suddenly realizes she really does value him as a healer. He's grateful she's straight with him, but he can't figure out what exactly her feelings are based on. He can't shake the truth. He used to be in the hero group, and when they fought that dragon together, his support magic just didn't measure up to hers. He assumes she wants him back as a healer, but the second he stops and thinks it through, he's sure he'll regret it almost immediately. Oren parts their hands, shoots them a grateful smile for the kind words, then leans in and says he's already got his own plans in motion. Selma and Sophia fume at his refusal, and when Sophia whips around to face him, she declares she'll join the expedition, right from the start, as a complete newcomer. She pleads with Oren to join their expedition, promising that she'd be over the moon if he came with them, and with pleading eyes, she begs him to take the offer. Selma sits there, visibly crushed by his refusal, while Sophia smiles sweetly and asks if Oren will finally take their offer. Oren snaps back that he's heard them and gladly agrees to come, and the moment he speaks, Selma's whole face lights up. She thanks him with pure joy. Oren blurts out that he's got a condition, and Selma snaps, "What is it?" as she promises she'll do everything she can to make it happen. Oren tells Selma, "You pegged me as a healer, yeah, but starting now I'm back as a swordsman," and he immediately asks to join them in that role. Selma's stunned that he's trading healer duties for a swordsman's blade, but she doesn't stop him. She nods and laughs, raising a drink to seal it, and right there, she realizes if this goes the way it looks, then she's got to step in and play the healer. The girls push Oren to show up at headquarters tomorrow at 8 p.m., promising they'll hash out the details, and even talk possible rewards, and Oren nods in agreement. After dinner, the sisters head home, and Sophia's heart sinks when she realizes Oren ended up footing the bill himself. Selma quickly tells her he never wanted payment, he just cared. Sophia's mood flips fast and she smiles, saying, "No doubt about it, he's a genuinely good man, and he's helped me more than I can ever repay." Selma declares she'll never fall behind anyone. Yeah, even if they're orcs, she'll wipe out 100 without a scratch, and she'll stand by her through anything, because her love means more than anyone ever could. Sophia nods and says she gets it, because she knows her sister better than anyone. Sophia swears her sister is the top healer in the world, and her absolute best friend too. Selma grinned at her sister's words, practically breathing out with relief. She's just so thankful that this little girl is truly okay. Selma's mind races with revenge plans for the crew that betrayed Sophia. She's got every member's name in her hands and knows she can strike back. Then Sophia calls her name. Selma snaps back from her reverie and blurts out an apology. Then Sophia grins and says, "We're already here. Silver Rabbit Clan headquarters." Selma snaps into action, realizing they have to hunt down the adventurers now, so she tells Sophia, "Go back to the room, I'll handle the report on today's events." As Sophia steps out, she whirls toward her sister, suddenly remembering she still had something she needed to say. Sophia tells Selma, "Don't be late, I'm really counting on you," and Selma's heart practically melts, calling her sister the sweetest thing ever, but she can't afford to stall, so she hurries straight to the clan president's office. She storms into the office, slips an apology to the president for dragging him into this late-night mess, and then she drops it when the man asks what happened. Selma steps forward and drops 2 bombshells. Then the president flashes his attention like, "Go on, I'm listening." Selma can't stop praising Vinsperius. She's convinced he's the best in the clan, and in his very first year as president last year, he handled a crisis with pure brilliance, earning every ounce of trust from every clan member. She leans in and drops her first bombshell. She's talking about a squad of heroes. The president's furious when a group of heroes gets brought up, but he still tells them to keep going, saying he just never expected they'd even talk about it. Selma blurts out that Orin Dora, the group's healer, has vanished, and Orin's man snaps, "You mean the same Orin?" Selma swears that he told her the exact news himself when she bumped into him earlier. The president grimly admits this crushes the heroes hard. Without Orin, their power is about to take a real hit. Selma nods along with Vance Breyer's theory, grinning as she credits his buffs for getting them down this far. She says Orin's support magic sits below average rank, but the instant he activates it, he's blazing, about 4 times faster than her. She's convinced he's got an original magic of his own, something even she can't figure out, and she's watched him break it out again and again in the middle of battle. Selma says she first spotted her a month ago, and insists he can read the situation in seconds, see what's coming, and hit back with magical healing support just in time. So he's got everything it takes to become the perfect healer. The girls convince the heroes. Collapse is only a matter of time after losing Orin, so she's betting the silver rabbits can climb even higher. The man admits he heard about it last month, but it still felt impossible. Then Selma hits him with the truth. It's still brutally hard to judge a real healer. Selma's sure she's grabbed everyone's attention. Then she leans in and asks the president if real power is just as unseen as she thinks her own is. The man snaps that his ears are burning from all this talk, and Selma immediately flips to the second report. Orin's coming with them on the search expedition. Vince Breyers calls it encouraging, but Selma spots the catch in his eyes. What are they really getting from all this? Then Selma says she'll hash it out with him at headquarters tomorrow. Selma can't shake the feeling that if she says yes, Orin is just lining up to cash in on the clan's help. The man says those pushy aristocrats keep insisting they're not on board with the plan, and it's freaking him out, because he fears their backing could vanish any second. Selma nods along, tells him she can feel it too, but then she shuts the thought down fast, like she really doesn't want to deal with it. The president tells her, "I don't think Orin snapped when he left the group, but I'm showing up tomorrow anyway, just in case." The man figures Selma's cold, distant attitude toward him isn't random. There's a reason behind it. He thinks she's dreaming of joining the Silver Rabbits, the first squad in the night sky, and taking the lead. Selma's nerves start to spike the moment the president speaks, but the man presses on, saying the only thing he cares about is whether Orin can fit the first squad and become the trump card that'll replace him. The girl shoots back, "I can't say for sure, but I swear it could be real." Vince Breyers shoots a question at Orin, "Are you a healer?" Then turns to Selma, asking if she wants to swap out someone in her party, and Selma shuts it down on the spot. She won't allow any change because she's keeping her party's balance right where it belongs. Selma can't stop thinking about why Orin ditched his class and picked up the path of a swordsman. She figures he's trying to prove, right on the battlefield, that he's got what it takes. The man assures them the escort won't be a problem since he's obviously got tons of experience, and Selma nods along. Then, with a quick sorry for the interruption, she wraps up her report for the day. As Selma storms out of the president's office, she can't stop thinking about how brutal all of this feels. Because even with the heroes shrinking in number, they've made 0 progress since day 1 this year. Selma suddenly clocked just how many problems were piling up, slumped against the wall, and let exhaustion hit her hard. Then her mind snapped back to her little sister, Sophia. Remembering her sister, the girl panics. She thinks she has to zap her energy back fast from her, and then she learns the truth. Selma Creddle is the best healer on the whole continent, weirdly sensual too, and the moment her mind wanders, all it can think about is her sister. Next morning, Orin storms into the shop and greets the owner, then declares, "Starting tomorrow, I'm heading into the labyrinth, so I've got to refill my supplies." Orin treats the store owner like his real grandfather, because the man dotes on him, seeing as Orin can't remember his real parents. His grandfather snaps, "Don't rush, your client count is just steadying." But somehow, because of him, everything keeps climbing and he's thriving. Grandpa swears it's all because of Orin and his claim to fame as the best adventurer, then turns to him like, "I truly appreciate everything you've done for me." Oran rushed to his grandfather, begged for forgiveness, and told him the truth. He's out of the hero group now, and he's been deemed unfit for promotion. Orin insists that without them by his side, he can't steer anything anymore, then hangs his head in shame and throws out another heartfelt apology. Grandpa softly pats his head, grinning as he says kids these days fret over everything under the sun, and he's just relieved they've finally got a chance to sit and talk with each other. Grandpa tells him the rest hinges on his own grind, then thanks him with a proud nod, like he's already done more than enough. Oren blames his grandfather for everything, and the moment he says it, tears burst out and run hot down his cheeks. Grandpa snaps back that it's not true, grumbles through it every single day, and then, when your tears start, demands, "Why are you crying?" The man snaps his head toward Oren and tells him, straight up, that life can hit hard, and there's nothing shameful about letting the tears fall. Tears streaming down his face, the young man grabs his grandfather's hands and pours out his gratitude. Oren strides up to the meeting spot and spots Soma already waiting. Then the girl smirks and orders him to follow her. As they walk, Selma clocks that his mood's way brighter than yesterday, so she presses, "Did it feel good to ditch the hero's party?" He smirks and fires back yes to Selma's question. Then he and her stride toward this massive, gorgeous building, where Selma proudly declares, "This is the place." Oren strides toward the southern entrance of the Great Southern Labyrinth, and stops cold as a massive crowd of people blocks his path ahead. Someone calls out to Oren, and he whips his gaze toward them instantly. Selma and Sophia stride up to him, and Oren greets Sophia. She beams back with a sweet smile, while Oren spots the way she's dressed this time and realizes it's totally different from last time. He thinks she might have gotten a new uniform, then tells her she looks amazing in that dress. Sophia blushes and shyly thanks him for the compliment. Selma shoots him an irritated look and figures he's used to flirting with girls, then wonders if he's been having affairs behind her back, only for Oren to stare blankly and ask what kind of affairs she even means. Oren shrugs and says, "Nothing's wrong." Then he leans in and explains that back when he was in the hero group, he lived with another member, so this was just normal to him. Selma realizes every brave hero is packed into one mansion. Sophia wastes no time and asks Oren where he's staying now, and Oren says he's in a hotel, but he's thinking about renting a room instead. Selma's gut twists as she starts to wonder why she's even asking, and she can't shake the feeling she's trying to shove him into it. Sophia blurts out that she's only a little nervous and totally embarrassed by what her sister just said. Selma quizzes the boy about why he's keeping his distance, and Oran snaps back that he's a total stranger to them, then worries it'll spark trouble with the newcomers, since they'll probably cling together. Selma strides up to the newcomers and orders, "Follow me," then cracks her power wide open, promising she'll ease the pressure building on them. She tells Sophia she's sliding into her own crew, Beta, and Sophia nods like, "Yep, that's true." Oren panics for a second, then it hits him. This isn't idle talk, they've got real work to do, and right now. The showdown erupted right at the Silver Rabbit's headquarters in the midnight sky. Oren snaps back to last night. Yeah, exactly like he promised. He stormed into headquarters where President Vince was waiting, and Selma filled him in on the project, laying out the basics without spilling every detail. Oren is dying to wrap up everything Selma and the president told him. He says the hunt will last 3 days, and they're zeroing in on the first 10 floors of the labyrinth. Since they've got to keep the newbies safe, they're not staying overnight. They'll move through and come back only once they reach their floor. He tells them straight up, 10 groups of fresh newbies are in the mix, and 5 leaders, Selma and himself included, run the whole operation. Each round, the newbies take turns battling the demonic beast, and if things get lopsided, the command snaps to the leader's hands. Selma shoots back that every word he said is spot on, and the sooner he gets this plan, the better. No delays, because a march is coming no matter what. The girl asks if Oren has any questions, and he answers with one thing only. Then the boy can't believe it, staring at just 5 leaders like, why only that many? And if those ads had the nerve to think logically, they could have grabbed a rank and a squad, and by backing the new recruits, they'd have cut the danger down as far as humanly possible. Selma shoots back that they're here to lure in as many fresh faces as they can, right down on the lower floors. With a sweet, polite smile, she tells him that even tough moments forge new talent, and then asks if this might be the perfect chance for him. Oren knows this is their official stance, and in a scheme like this, where the only thing that matters is the end result, they don't care how you get there. He figures there's some hidden motive, but they'll never spell it out, so he nods and agrees to help. Selma beams at him, hands over 2 gold coins on the spot, and promises she'll pay the remaining 10 once he finishes the job. Oren gushes that it's amazing, but then his gut asks, is it gonna cost way too much? And he starts daydreaming, if everything clicks, that money could fund him for a full year, and he wouldn't have to hold back on a single thing. Selma snaps back that this is the cost of his skills, and tells him to go even harder tomorrow, and Oren just freezes, baffled before promising, I'll do my best. Oren wonders if the president is staying quiet because he still doubts what's inside, while Selma steps in to greet the 3 kids. They shoot a greeting back, and the young man stares, straight ahead, at 2 guys and 1 girl standing there. Oren instantly spots the last 3 leaders in the room. Selma steps in, introduces him, and says, this is the one we talked about yesterday. Then she leans in and swears she'll back his experience herself, and one of the young guys chimes in, If Mrs. Selma herself gives him the nod, that's a promising sign. The other leaders snap onto their comrades' words, saying they expect big things. Then Oren's nerves hit him like a wave, and he begs them not to set the bar so sky high. He clears his throat, introduces himself, and declares he'll be at the front lines taking the hit. Then he adds, "It's a pleasure to meet you." The leaders decide they need to introduce themselves too. Selma blasts out the leaderboard, 2 tanks, Bando and Ansel, and 1 healer standing ready. Cat. Oren straight up reveals they've got DD, and even a healer on the team. Then Selma goes, "See, you nailed it, you got it all right." The young man stares at the party's perfect balance and can't help thinking, if he wasn't here, would Selma have grabbed someone else to fill the attacker spot? He shrugs it off, because they've basically got everything figured out already. Then Selma steps up, begs the leaders to go all in for 3 straight days, and the whole crew erupts with support. Selma tells Oren, "Go meet the newcomers first, trust me." The girl steps up in front of the swarm of recruits and greets them with a sharp smile, telling them, "As you were told earlier, starting today, you'll climb all the way to the 51st floor of the Great Labyrinth." Selma catches their gloomy faces, then leans in and blurts, "Tell me, are you scared you might suddenly find yourselves trapped in a giant labyrinth?" She flashes them a confident grin, assures them there's nothing to worry about, because she's already trained a top-notch specialist for any curveballs, and then she begs them to let her introduce him. The girl jabs her finger at the young man, his face freezes in shock, and then she blurts out, thrilled as anything, "Orn, it's Orn. He's an adventurer at level 94, and we haven't even hit that yet." Selma's words spark the crowd into motion, and she declares that if they truly want to become adventurers, they're going to learn a ton from him. She adds, with total confidence, that he's a former member of the hero group, and that he knows the Great Labyrinth better than anyone alive. The new kids hear her words and get fired up, and Oren watches their starry-eyed admiration and can't help wondering if they're just as pumped about being thrown into the labyrinth. Selma blurts out, "Can you smell the air of the 51st floor yet?" And then she practically drags them in with this blazing idea, "Start exploring the labyrinth right now." He locks eyes with inspired Selma and suddenly gets it. She meant to relieve the tension, and the feeling hits him right then. She tells the newcomers to step into their groups and stares down the leaders until they nod, and while the room holds its breath, Oren slips up to Selma and asks if he's pumped their morale too soon. Selma grins and says his hero group wins will still come back swinging. She adds, like it's the whole point, that their real goal is to shove fresh faces into the labyrinth with calm hearts, or at least to see them marvel if it really is that simple. Selma blurts out, "I totally forgot," and then declares that Orn is the leader of the 9th and 10th groups. The rookies in the 9th and 10th groups heard that shout blast through the air, cheering like crazy because they'd made it into the orange squad, while the young man standing there went pale with horror at what was unfolding. Selma tells him that Group 10 is packed with the best new recruits, and if they train inside the group, they'll be perfect help right in the middle of the maze. Then she lights up and says, "All right, I've handed you the directions, now you can step in." Oren can't shake the question of whether a stranger should really teach high potential newcomers, so when the young man strides up to his groups and calls himself out, he promises he'd love to team up with them for 3 whole days. The newcomers stare at him with zero shame, practically begging him, admiration pouring off every word, for him to take care of them. As Orn watches them, it finally clicks. This hero party effect isn't just a theory, it's real. Then he spots a familiar face in the crowd, and his heart drops when he realizes Sophia is in his party too. Oren snaps everyone to name themselves and their ranks, then glares at the 10th group, only 3 standing there, and his mind starts to race. Is anyone missing? The girl just shakes her head and says, "Nope, everyone's here." The 10th group is made up of 2 girls and 1 boy, and Orn can't help but gawk at how weird it is to have just 3 people. Then he clocks the terrifying truth. The fewer newcomers you bring in, the higher the chance someone dies. The boy steps in right away, insisting everything is exactly as it should be. He boasts loud and proud that their crew is the ultimate best, top of the top. Oren glares at the smug kid thinking, yeah, sure, he'd probably assume this was possible, but then he's hit with pure shock at the kid's bold arrogance for someone so young, and it makes Oren worry about what's coming for his future. The young man declares, if everyone's here, then the questions are done, and then he points to the 10th group, demanding they introduce themselves. Logan Hayward starts by introducing himself. He's the leader of the 10th group, he's taking the support role, and he's the one who's going to outshine Salma. Orn clocked Logan's booming confidence, turned to the next guy and demanded, all right, you introduce yourself. And just like that, another member shot his hand up. Caroline, a sweet girl who introduces herself by name, declares that her job on the team is tank, so Orn immediately asks if she's going to suit up in her main armor before they enter, since right now she's only in light armor, and Caroline snaps back that yes, he did notice. The girl grins and announces, I'm a tank, no armor needed. Oren blinks, totally lost, wondering if she's talking about some new kind of tank, but Caroline laughs it off and says, "Don't worry, everything's fine." She snaps that she hates getting mobbed by monsters, but the truth is, she wants to hunt them down, so she plays a mixed DD tank and charges in anyway. Sophia Credle steps up last, introduces herself, and declares she'll be the attack mage in the rearguard, then promises she'd be thrilled to cooperate. Oren can't stop staring at Sophia. He thinks it's just a normal greeting, but it hits his chest and somehow makes him feel lighter, and as the group starts bickering, he just stands there watching it all unfold. As he watches them, worry gnaws at his chest. This mission might be way too brutal for them. Finally, the search operation kicked off, and he couldn't stop thinking that these newcomers are in a great mood. But how much are they really going to learn once this expedition hits? Right in the middle of it, someone yells his name. Caroline from the 10th group strides up and asks why a hero party member is on their expedition, since she thought his clan was supposed to be their rival. Orn blurts out, "Wait, didn't you hear what Selma just said?" Then she doubles down, "And by the way, I'm not in the hero party anymore." The boy admits they really were a threat, and he kept his eyes on the whole clash, so Caroline snaps, asking why he's suddenly out of the hero group. She says the heroes are loved by everyone, and she can't fathom why he'd waste his time here, while Orn's like, "Maybe you should have stopped grilling him way sooner." He clocks that she just blurts out questions on the spot. Zero filter, no second thoughts. Oren snaps at the girl that none of this has anything to do with her. Then Caroline freezes, remembering Oren and Sophia know each other, and she can't stop herself from wondering if it's true, even as she debates asking Sophia. Caroline leans in and tells him she's sure she'll say it perfectly. Then she points to Sophia, saying Sophia promised that an incredible person would come to help, and Caroline asks, "Did I get it right?" Sophia turns bright red, stumbling over her own words, and blurts out, What is it?" Caroline demanded to know why Orn chose to help them, and Sophia leaned in and said he'd been coming through for her non-stop lately. She boasts that he's rock solid in the hero party, and says her sister promised they'll be safe as long as he's around. Then Caroline practically beams at the answer. Caroline tells Sophia she has nothing to fear because a hero from their party is nearby, and Sophia nods along, agreeing with her comrades, while Orn can't help realizing he's clearly not with them anymore. As he watched the girls trade sweet words back and forth, a sudden thought hit him. Maybe Caroline brought it up just to help Sophia crack the tension and breathe again. Oren starts wondering if Caroline truly cares about anyone but herself. Then wolves burst out behind them and lunge straight into the attack. Or spots the monsters and slams them with earth magic, shredding straight through. Then the wolves scream out, die, and vanish into nothing. The young man stares ahead, realizing they're really taking this seriously, and his spell hit right on time. He believes matching that timing takes real skill, because from the instant the spell starts until it finally fires, forcing it takes everything in you, yet if they pull it off, they'll wipe out the demonic enemies without ever throwing off the main group. He knows time is already slipping away, so there's no way they can afford to get trapped in some pointless brawl. They've already blasted their way up to the 20th floor of the Great Southern Labyrinth, and Caroline turns to Oren like, "How much farther until we hit the floor boss?" The young man says, "Keep this pace and we'll be there in 10 minutes, and the girl's eyes pop wide. She can't believe it'll be that soon. The team keeps laughing that this floor isn't good enough for Sophia, but she snaps back, yelling it's not true. Then Oren realizes they're on track to finish way earlier than planned, because nothing major has gone wrong yet. The young man sinks into thought, remembering how all he's seen so far is the way they throw down, and how he once worried the group was doomed to stay small, just 3 guys. But now he's sure it doesn't matter, because when you've got a real leader, that's where the power comes from. Right off the bat, he can't stop thinking about Logan, because at first he dismissed him as just a cheeky rookie, yet his healing abilities are undeniably legit. Orn is convinced that as long as Logan keeps his edge in long battles, he's going to be a constant force in A-rank groups. Oren knows a healer can't go solo. He needs teammates just as sharp, and when he watches his crew sprint off to smash the orcs they just ran into, he thinks, "This is perfect. If we take fights like this, we'll earn real battle experience." Oren's jaw drops at Caroline's crazy speed. She's aiming for a maneuverable tank style, but there are 2 big problems sitting right in the way. He thinks the first problem is simple. When demonic beasts come for her, she bolts to the side instead of standing her ground, like tanks are supposed to do, not hovering and worrying. Next, what gnaws at him is the sight of her 2 daggers. Sure, she can wield them well, but Oren can't shake the fear that their crew doesn't have the raw power to wipe out their enemies, and his mind won't drift anywhere else but Caroline. Oren thinks Sophia's skills fall short compared to her teammates, but the wild part is, Sophia's already outshining the newcomers. He figures she's not that active yet, but once she starts opening up, that'll flip fast. Oren's pumped for her future progress, because even as a total newbie, she hasn't shown a single obvious weakness. The young man can't stop thinking about the 9th group, He's dying to watch where their future takes them. Oren stared at the monster vanishing before his eyes, and the three leaders rushed in to say the 20th floor boss was finally crushed. Orn can't even process it. This is really all for today. Everything went so smoothly he starts to wonder if he massively underestimated those silver rabbits streaking through the night sky, while Selma applauds the leaders and tells everyone, "You killed it," then slams the next order. Move up to the 21st floor. She tells the fresh arrivals, register with the guild first, and then this expedition is finally over. Newbies rush up to the crystal, desperate to clutch their progress before it slips away. They burst out of the labyrinth, and someone immediately thanks Orn for everything. Turns out it's Selma. He shoots back that the feeling's mutual, and then she leans in, asking his take on the newcomers who just joined his groups. Oren grins and says the 9th group is itching for the next move, while the 10th group, just like she promised, is looking seriously promising. Oren calls out Team 10's lack of teamwork, especially Caroline, who's acting totally out of character, and the young man's admission makes Selma burst into a shaky, nervous laugh. Selma tells Orn that their skills have leveled up since those last attempts, so he can't help wondering what they looked like back then. Selma promises she'll check on it tomorrow, and Orn ends the night by wishing her good night. The very next day, Oren grips the package in both hands, stares at it like it's a lifeline, and then says, dead serious, it finally happened. He snaps open the newspaper, scans a headline that screams about exclusive coverage. The healer and the whole gang of heroes have been replaced. Oren snaps to the truth. His expulsion is suddenly public news, and Oliver tells him the real reason they picked a new healer. The last one just didn't have any standout skills. Orn scans the newspaper and freezes. Oliver doesn't even realize his healing skills fall below average, and the heroes' team is hit with a brutal shortage of seasoned help. But then the paper hits harder. They've already fought their way up to the 94th floor of the labyrinth. And the announcement also teased that Philly Carpenter, the brand new recruit who's been diving into the great labyrinth of the West and using her skills like crazy, is now closing in on Selma Crotal. Even if the heroes stop their winning march through the labyrinth and never write a brand new song, this announcement still lands with a punch, because they've already set the bar sky high. Oren demands they hold tight, don't move a muscle until the expedition is finally over. He's terrified that the students who worship him will suddenly turn on him once they find out he didn't walk away. He got booted from the hero group, and worst of all, he's bracing for Logan's reaction, wondering if that cocky kid will even bother obeying his orders. Orn dresses up and can't shake the feeling that not every student actually likes reading newspapers. Then he realizes just how fast their opinions could flip after this article hits. The boy shakes off the thoughts and finally realizes he has to go, then starts down the street, until a long-haired girl spots him and calls his name. Orn whips around and freezes, because Luna Folkark stands right in front of him, the group's mage and their healer. She greets the young man and tells him, in total disbelief, that it's been way too long since they last saw each other. Orn swears it's only been 4 days since they last met, and her words hit him like a fact, because back when he was in the group, the others' attitudes turned colder and colder, and she was the only one who still spoke to him like nothing had changed. He can't stop wondering, if Luna hadn't vanished to help her parents, would everything that happened after his expulsion have gone down differently? Bitter regret twists his chest. Turns out he still can't shake the feelings he has for those heroes, and he turns to Luna, asking what he can do for her. Luna pleads with Orn to come back to their group, swearing they can't survive without his strength. He locks eyes with her and thinks, yeah, this is exactly what I should have expected from Luna, because she's always treated him like he's worth believing in. He asks if this is a group decision, and after reading this morning's article, he says it sure doesn't look like it. Luna has no clue which morning article he means. Then, without missing a beat, she declares with total confidence that the choice is hers. She promises that if Oren comes back, she'll step up and fight to convince everyone else. He clocks Luna's fierce determination and realizes she's not just talking, she truly wants him back with the group. But then it hits him too late, and that's that. The young man points at the article and admits he's basically done for. He's not getting back, and he never even planned to return. Luna rushes in, apologizes, and says she hasn't read it yet, so she's still completely lost about what's happening. The girl says they made a promise to team up and conquer the Great Labyrinth together. Oren insists that promise was made between him, Oliver, and Luna, but the moment Oliver kicked him out, that promise became pointless. Luna admits it might be true, but she pushes harder, begging him to come back, while Orn struggles to even process everything she's saying. The boy whips around and blurts, "I'm so sorry," then hurries off because he's running late. Orn storms out, and that leaves Assad and Luna alone. He still remembers Oliver and Luna, and he's sure he'd love to keep the promise he made to those three, but there's nowhere left to go, because it all ended that same day. Then it hits him, he's already too late. Orn spots the newbies huddled over a newspaper that screams the healer of the hero group, Orn, was exiled for lack of abilities, and he can't help wondering how many fools just swallowed that lie. One newbie finally looks up and asks, "So, you guys read the paper this morning?" The crowd starts whispering to itself, and Orn's ears catch someone in the mass repeating the article's claim. He got kicked out because he just wasn't good enough. The fresh-faced newcomers spot the young man and greet him with instant excitement. He stares at the newcomers and instantly clocks the massive change from the day before, when he'd rallied them, so Orn realizes they're probably just as lost as he feared. Selma tears across the arena to Orn, breathless as she hurries to apologize to him. Go tell Selma she's got nothing to apologize for, because if she keeps spiraling in worry, they're going to sink the whole expedition. Selma keeps apologizing, admitting that yesterday, just to help the newbies feel welcomed, she asked him to talk to them, and she should have handled it way more carefully. The girl blurts out that she's insanely sorry she didn't know the whole situation, and Ornash's Selma snaps that everything's okay, that it's all on him. He then fumes that he caused the whole mess by staying silent. The young man says their training trek is going great, and then tells Selma, "Just act as well as you always do, okay?" Selma nods along with Orn's words, tells him she'll head out now, and hands her support over to him. Then Orn tells her she can trust him, no questions asked. Orn bursts into the meeting spot for the 9th and 10th groups, and the newbies wave him in, but you can feel the 9th squad's fury and Logan's anger hanging in the air. Orn steps up to the guys and demands, "Did you all understand what was in the morning article?" The newcomers just freeze, silent, completely lost. Orn shrugs and says it's almost true. He straight up admits he got kicked out of the heroes because his power was worthless, so he's not the hero everyone's waiting for. The newcomers' hopes crash the second they hear it, and Orn snaps, saying he was wrong to stay quiet about the whole thing. Suddenly, Sophia blurts out that Orn is absurdly strong, and the young man plus the other newcomers all freeze in shock at her sudden claim. Then she hits them with the real bombshell. He alone carved through more than a dozen orcs. Suddenly, Sophia screams that Orn is ridiculously strong, and the young man plus the other newcomers stare in shock at her sudden outburst. Then she goes even further, saying he alone wiped out more than a dozen orcs. The 9th squad stares in shock as Sophia drops her bombshell. Orn-san has more than enough talent to handle this. Orn locks eyes with Sophia, spots that steely resolve, and throws back a grateful nod. Then the young man confirms it. Everything's exactly as Sophia promised, and they're headed straight for the 51st floor of the Great Labyrinth. Oren admits he might not stay in their group, but he won't stop being a hero. He swears for Oren Dor himself that as a simple seeker, he'll protect them. Just like yesterday, he fires them up and orders them to do whatever it takes to make this expedition a success. And the new guys, swept up by his speech, immediately nod and agree. On the 31st floor, the 9th group slays the demonic creature, and the boy breaks into joy, shouting that he's one of them. Orn beams and congratulates him, while the young man can't stop smiling because his newcomers finally trust him again. From today on, he knew it. He was the leader, and he had to call the shots, even with the air crackling and the 9th group flat out refusing to listen, because if he hadn't earned their trust back, none of this would have gone anywhere. It's time to press forward, and Orn snaps to Team 10's attention. Monsters are ahead, and they're closing in fast. He asks, "You ready to fight?" Caroline and Sophia shout yes without hesitation, but Logan just stays quiet. Monsters are closing in fast, and Orn snaps at Caroline to distract those goblins while they press forward. He orders Logan to back Caroline up with magic and healing, then tells Sophia to push the orcs back from the rear. As Logan goes to work, Orn watches him and realizes, boom, he's actually worried about Logan and that support magic of his. Logan starts weaving magic, and Ornon instantly clocks it. He's boosting his power with magic-enhanced strength, packing on physical strength, and even ramping up his own growth all at once. Oran figures, I'm just a newbie. If I can juggle 3 spells at once already, I've got nothing to fear about my magic. Caroline charges the goblin and slashes him to the ground with her dagger, while Orn watches, thinking she's still just as fast as before, and for a moment it doesn't look that bad. Orc strides straight towards Sophia, and Orn's gut twists. She just met orcs for the first time, so can she handle what's coming? He's terrified the shock will crush her before she can fight back. The young man whips around to the frightened Sophia, speaks soothing words to steady her, and promises her that everything's going to be okay. He tells her she's got 2 friends, Caroline and Logan, then he jabs a finger at the orc and asks, so what about him? Orn slashes his dexterity down on the orc, then leans in and tells Sophia, I've got you, always, and even if she messes up, he'll step in and cover for her because now she's not alone anymore. Orn urges her to go all in, and Sophia, fired up by his words, promises, I'll do my best. Watching her, the young man suddenly sees it. Sophia back when she was left alone is nothing like the confident woman standing in front of him now. And with that, he's certain of one thing, she'll be okay. Sophia unleashes her magic and obliterates the orc. The girl casts her fire spear spell, and the monster gets nailed on the first hit. Sophia's spell detonates into a massive explosion. Orn throws a protective cover over himself, thinking, I told her to do her best, but I never expected it to be this intense. And even her comrades stare in shock at just how powerful her attack really is. Orn stares at the wreckage from the explosion and freezes, because he just realized no one ever warned him she could pull off high-level magic. Logan is utterly stunned, and the moment Caroline's eyes sparkle, she bolts towards Sophia, yelling that it was freaking awesome. Caroline scoops Sophia into a hug and blurts out, that was seriously so cool, you did it. The young man blurts out that Sophia is a total good girl, and that her attack was flawless. Then Sophia beams and happily thanks Orn. They battled for what felt like forever, finally breaking through to the 36th level, then surged back up to the surface, and sprinted home like they'd won the fight of their lives. Selma cheers everyone on for pushing through all day, then announces tomorrow is finally the last day, and that everyone can head home now, because they've got to rest up and come back strong. Jensam and Bernard rush up as one of the leaders yells at Orn, you good. Orn snaps back that everything's totally fine and asks what happened, and Bernard shrugs it off, says nothing's special, then invites them to come along for dinner. The young man beams because they're not sweating over the morning paper, then invites him to dinner. Orn grins and says he'd be happy to join them. Then it clicks during their dungeon run, they barely talked, and he thinks, this is our moment to finally connect. Meanwhile, Logan leans in and asks Sophia, do you know Oren? Sophia tells Logan she only just met him, and then admits, 3 days ago he helped me in the labyrinth, before Logan fires back, but did you really go in there alone? Sophia fires back that the leader down there was rounding people up into a squad, and that's exactly how it all went down. Caroline demands to know why Sophia is acting so strange, and Logan presses her to spill whatever she's hiding. He leans in and demands Sophia tell him everything she knows about Orna. He leans in and demands the story about Orna, because he wants to know every last detail. Sophia's mind races, wondering what she's supposed to say, while Logan leans in and asks if she remembers him using magic to save her. She claims it was a massive blast of wind, like a shockwave smashing through everything, and Logan shoots back, was there anything else? Sophia explains that the rest was all Cheyenne Majutsu's support magic, power that reinforces the sword like it's supercharging the blade. Logan questions the sword, and Sophia fires back that it's so brutally powerful it can slice clean through literally anything. And she adds it's not all magic, he's deadly with a sword too. Logan leans in, hanging on every word of Sophia's story. She can't swear to it, but she bets it all traces back to his training, because he's reshaped multiple abilities, and yeah, he's gotten stronger. Logan can't stop thinking about what converted really means, and the moment it hits him, he decides he has to see it with his own eyes. Logan swears that through all of this, he fought like it was pure perfection. Then he admits the truth hits hard, because this morning he was totally thrown when he heard Orn got kicked out of the guild. And yeah, Logan's rage was boiling the whole time. Logan finally snapped to it. He'd completely misjudged things when he brushed him off as no kind of strong adventurer. The young man admits he nearly lost it when the monster's moves suddenly screeched to a slower pace. Then Orn kicked on his speed, slashed his radius, and powered through with support. Logan can't stop thinking about how brutal it is to master that debuff. Once you learn it, you realize you've got to nail every tiny move and technique perfectly. So when Orn slaps it on without breaking a sweat, Logan's mind is blown, especially since Selma barely ever uses it. Logan looks back on all the times he fought under his command, and every single round he came out smiling, because he earned that respect. Then on their very first expedition, when he was still brand new to support magic, they tore through their enemies fast. Logan realizes that when he tweaks his attack style, his power surges, like it grows exponentially, and he's sure it's all because of the training that finally clicked. The young man decides he's not done. He'll keep tracking Mr. Orn, because that man is his mentor and his best friend. Logan can't wrap his head around why a veteran fighter gets kicked out of the guild, while Caroline quizzes Sophia about whether being a vanguard attacker is even a strong role. Sophia says she thinks so. Sophia says if she turns into a vanguard attacker, she'll be the strongest. Caroline just grins and says it's not a bad plan at all. The girls start daydreaming about pulling off a win before they even realize it, then agree to train their skills together, while Logan just stands off to the side, locked in on the perfect attacker. Logan can't stop thinking about how people label him a genius, but he still can't figure out what that word even means to him, so he digs in and refuses to give up. Logan can't shake the truth that no matter what it takes, he has to keep pushing, because only then will he grow stronger enough to help. Caroline clocks how heavy her friend's mood feels and asks Logan if he's tired. Then he grins and fires back that he's overflowing with energy like never before. The girls notice he's glowing, tell him to chill, but Logan snaps. He's furious that he's not. At the Night Rava restaurant, Orn plops down at a table stacked with food, and just when he's settling in, someone slides a drink over and urges him to kick off his story. Bernard, the party's leader, tells everyone that he's heard Orn has endless wild stories. Then he leans in and says, "So grab a drink while you still can." Bernard groans that dragging himself to work with a hangover will be brutal, so they're getting wasted tonight. Orn just shoots back that they should grab a little more sleep. Leader Onsum quotes Orn, saying a big table beats a small one, then admits he's got no clue how he should greet them. Bernard demands to know why Orn should get a greeting, then laughs and jokes that they should sing him a hymn. He's furious that the plain lanterns won't cut it, yet he can't deny they somehow look gorgeous, and his friend just shrugs, no complaints from him, everything's perfect. The other squad's leader tells him, "After missions, you've earned a break, don't overthink it, just chow down and enjoy," and his partner nods right along. Then Orn's like, "Wait, is it really normal to be this happy for no reason?" And yeah, who cares about those replies? At least it's better than sitting up every night, racking his brain over books. Bernard snaps at his friend, grilling him whether he even knows what he's talking about, then blasts him with the fact that politics are a total mess right now. Yet Orn fires back that even if it's true, he can't just disappear and take a break. The young man snaps that today's news has him boiling with rage, and he can't wrap his head around how anyone can just shrug off a thing without even trying to understand it. Then he tells the guys, "Maybe I was just unlucky." He brings up his old band, then shuts it down fast and says that's not the point. So let's talk hobbies, because they still haven't had dinner together. The boys freeze at Orn's words and Bernard blurts out, "Did you really say that?" Orn smirks and says he can't stay stone cold all the time. He just wanted a real heart-to-heart, and the boys admit, yeah, it straight up scares them. Ansem snaps that he just had to get the scoop on what happened this morning, raging that this is no way to treat a vanguard attacker, and he hammers home that if Orn hadn't used magic, Ansem never would have been beaten. Bernard demands to know what happened, and Ansem snaps back that Orn had permission to use magic. Then he shoots the real question. How did he manage to turn him into a sword? They demanded Orn explain himself, why he did it at all. Orn tells you that as a kid he lived for sword fights, dreamt of becoming a true swordsman, and couldn't stop wondering what it would feel like. Orin says this is exactly why he jumped at the chance. He decided the time was right to finally pick up a sword. Ansem says a ton of time has gone by since then and shoots back, "Were your parents against it?" Orn shrugs and says, "They didn't really say anything." The boy tells him straight up that his grandfather was an adventurer who sliced down a demon beast with nothing but a sword, and that's when his dream ignited, to become just like him. His comrade drops the truth. This asterisk is the reason he's chasing the throne of the strongest. Orn keeps talking, and he swears it all went down the moment they headed into the dungeon, when the earth suddenly shook with an earthquake. He swears the monster was towering, and he had to hold it back, but then he admits he knew nothing about it and didn't understand what he was seeing back then. Orn remembers Selma and blurts out that he was supposed to train and level up these abilities first, but something forced him to use them right away, so he had no choice. Orn tells his comrades, "Back then I didn't care what would happen, I had one mission only, tear down that monster and end it." The boy swears he's mastered the fencing basics, then swings a sword while casting magic at the same time. Ansem leans in like, "So that's a combo," and calls it downright fascinating. They corner Orin and ask if he was wrong in the end, and the young man just smirks. No, he wasn't wrong at all. Orn remembers Selma and admits he was meant to train and level up those abilities the normal way, but something forced him to use them instead. So he did, right then and there. Orn told his comrades that back then, consequences didn't matter to him at all. He only had one mission: smash the monster. The boy claims he's finally nailed the basics of fencing, then declares he'll fight with a sword and magic at the same time, and Ansem leans in and asks, "So this is a combo attack? That's genuinely interesting." They press Orn about whether he was wrong in the end, and he grins, confident as ever, saying, "No, I wasn't wrong." Bernard and Ansem are left reeling, and Orn suddenly declares, straight for Yuzushi, that he'll rise up and become the strongest adventurer. The young man says, "Don't jump to conclusions yet, I've got a million plans now." The guys stare back, stunned like, "Wait, what does all of this even mean?" Orn flashes a shaky smile, like he's dying to say more but can't, because he swears he's already spilled too much. Not yet, not until the moment he triggers his plan, and then they'll finally get the whole truth. Bernard leans in and asks if they've got a new swordsman, and Orn pauses, then guesses, maybe. Bernard smiles, tells them they just had an awesome chat today, and says he's honestly glad about it. Orn tells them the labyrinth might be the key, and he plans to dive in alone. The guys pull Orin aside and tell him straight, he's obsessing over it way too much. In the Silver Rabbit clan headquarters, somebody's cranking the heat for a scorching hot shower. Caroline bursts out from her shower, saying she's done, training trips are over, and tomorrow is the end. She admits she already misses her brother and fires the question to Sophia. Sophia snaps back that she feels it too, and then the real dread hits. Maybe they'll never see each other again. Sophia blurts out in the heat of the moment what she thinks Orn is up to. Caroline blurts out why Sophia's freaking out so bad, and Sophia answers, Orn's strong, he can take on anything, then shoots Caroline a nod like, I told you so. Caroline can't help but wonder if she'll ever become as strong and stunning as Mrs. Selma, and Sophia tells her, you'll be even better. But the smile fades. Sophia can't stop thinking about how alone she feels without Orn. She can't shake the feeling anymore. She misses Orn like crazy, and now she's left wondering when they'll finally get the chance to meet again. Back years ago, two kids trained their hearts out while two adult men stood there, watching every move. One of the men whirls toward Oliver and says, this is exactly what I expected from you. Then he leans in, fires back, and demands, so how do you dare call yourself a hero? The second man claims Orna used to be a genius, but now doubt has started creeping in. During a brutal training duel between Oliver and Orn, Oliver strikes first and wins, and the dark-haired man can't believe it, so he snaps that this genius is just talk. He insists, trust me, I'm the real hero. As little Orn crumples on the ground and blurts out, I've lost. He bursts into laughter and hypes Oliver as super strong, and that sets Oliver off. He's fuming and tells Orn to take this seriously. Oliver whips around to Orn and says, I wasn't even going all out, so yeah, that loss happened fast. Then he clenches his teeth and snaps, I don't accept your win, fight me again. Orn admits Oliver beat him fairly, and claims he's already surpassed him, then breaks into a laugh and says his power is finally done. Oliver snaps back, screaming it's all a lie. Oliver insists he hasn't beaten him for real and demands another fight, but Orn snaps back, why when you already heard me say I lost? So Oliver fires back, scolding him and warning that the day will come when Orn finally takes it seriously. Orn stays sprawled on the ground, eyes locked on the sky, begging for another chance, because he doesn't want to fight and he can't do it to his friend. Just then, a little girl runs up and tells him he fought brilliantly. Orn spots the girl and fires back that he won't say that. Then she grabs his attention and insists he truly fought amazingly, pressing him like, you don't believe me. She swears she finally understands what Orn really is, and she's so sure he's insanely strong that she's betting he'll only get even stronger from here. Orn bulldozes the moment mid-sentence, declares, I'm weak and I know it, then shoots a glare at the girl, insisting she shouldn't say it out loud. The boy blurts that he has to protect Oliver because guilt is eating him alive, and that's why he can't bring himself to fight him, right as the girl suddenly cuts in. She says with total confidence that he's not guilty of a thing, because the truth is he's fighting to help Oliver, not harm him. And right then, the boy is left stunned by what she just said. The girl says they can get stronger together, so they'll never have to clash again, and she grabs Oren's heart with one truth. She can't stand seeing him sad. She blushes and promises, wherever you go, I'll be there, always. Then she leans toward Orn and says that's exactly why she refuses to let him drown in sadness all by himself. Orn stares up at the sky and asks if it's finally time to leave, and the girl shoots back, yes, soon it'll get dark. Orn rises and heads out, but the girl grabs him before he can go. Then he turns and demands what she wants. The girl blurts that she's happy he's right there with her, but the second the boy turns around, she spots tears burning in his eyes, and she demands to know why he's crying. He scrambles to tell her she imagined it. Orange snaps at her to stop laughing at him, but the girl's smile grows anyway, so he huffs again, warning that if she doesn't knock it off, he'll blow up. The girl snaps back that she won't laugh, and Orn demands she swear on it. She gives him that promise without hesitation. She whips around to Orn and tells him, just the other day, we were laughing and joking together. She swears she wants to keep teasing him for as long as she can, and one day, when this is all over, we'll look back on today and grin like nothing else ever mattered. Orn stares at her mesmerized and she snaps, telling her to move forward right now. Orn tells her he gets exactly what she's going through. Then, just as he's saying goodbye to Zion, he urges her to stay safe and be careful. He snaps a hand towards Zion as she climbs into the carriage, and in that moment, he clings to the thought that only she ever truly stood by him. Right now, Oren sprawls on his bed, squinting as sunbeams burn into his face. Then he jolts awake, realizes it's morning, and immediately knows he just survived a weird, wild dream. Orn tries to claw his dream out of his mind, but it all slips away, blank, gone, empty. No matter how hard he strains, he can't remember a single thing. Oren strides down the street, still buzzing from his chat with the Silver Rabbit crew, and now he's locked in on a goal. Because there's barely anything left before it's all over, and he can only hope today ends the right way. Suddenly, he hears voices in the crowd. Someone's talking about brand new artifacts that have surfaced deep inside the dungeon, and it hits Orn like a bolt of lightning. Orn thinks they're talking about a crew of heroes, and the second person jumps in to confirm it, then flat out says they'll hit their goal real soon. He says there's a reason everyone talks about heroes, and tonight, they'll finally make their move and speak up. Orn realizes they're blitzing past his expectations, and the moment he sees it, his whole plan starts falling apart and rewrites itself. The young man couldn't believe they'd already shoved him all the way up to the 92nd floor. He figured it would come eventually, but he never expected it to hit this fast. He figures they never even stopped to think about the consequences, but he also knows they're not going to cooperate anyway. So yeah, it's just him panicking, and he insists it's nothing major, even though he can't ignore the worst-case reality. They could end up in serious trouble. 2 days ago at the hero's party, Philia Carpenter steps up and introduces herself, then beams, saying it's an honor to serve them and that she's genuinely thrilled to meet everyone. Philia declares the hero party a legendary welcome for adventurers and blasts out heartfelt thanks for everyone showing up, while Derek and Inari lean in and hang on her every word. Right now, Philia strides up to Oliver, and he can't help thinking about how his adventurous skills blow her mind. She realizes the party is thrown to honor the strongest heroes, people just like them, and thinks, perfect, this is my moment to cash in on even bigger rewards. She's so nervous she can barely speak, but she desperately wants to finally lay out her point of view on that one issue. Philia tells the heroes, "You've got to be here with us," and Darryl fires back, "No sweat, just take a breather for a bit." He spots a book on the table and swears he's seen it before, and Darryl grins that they're about to rake in big money, only for his friend to snap at him, yelling that he's got nothing on his mind but cash. Oliver's convinced this book will pay them enough, but he can't shake one worry. He hasn't spotted a single stash of cash on anyone yet. Darryl snaps at the girl that they're not surviving a day without money, so they need it. The girl yells that she already knows it, then snaps at him to shut up and stop blabbing about them non-stop. Philia turns and asks if they're even going to the party. Darryl says, "If I don't have to pay, I'll go talk to the others," and Philia snaps back, "You don't pay, just show up." Darryl says, "If that's how it is, then we'll just stay here till morning," and Philia shoots back, "Sure, if you want." Anari beams and urges Oliver to say yes, promising they'll cut costs while they're at it. Oliver shoots back that it's a party for heroes, so yeah, they can go. Oliver lifts his glass and starts a toast, saying they can finally sink into a real rest. Then he invites everyone to cheers the new member of their team, right as the door bursts open and someone steps into the hall. The heroes clink their glasses. Healer magician Luna bursts in, announces her arrival, and pleads for forgiveness for keeping everyone waiting. She asks Oliver if she's shown up at the wrong moment, and Oliver grins and tells her she couldn't have arrived more perfectly, right on time. Out of breath, Luna blurts that she sprinted to reach them. Then she freezes, realizing Orin never showed up, which means their whole journey is just getting started. Even though the heroes swore they'd banished Orn, Luna wouldn't buy it for a second. Yet in the end, she still had to face the truth and make peace with it. Luna leans in and asks the team how they're pulling off this carefree fun, because everyone knows a lecturing speech from the rule-keeping, Luna is coming, no matter what. Luna clenched her fists and said she gets why they're celebrating, but she just heard Orin hooked up with the Silver Rabbit and they're heading underground together. Then the team demanded, "Wait, is what you said actually true?" Oliver is completely stunned. Orn just joined the Silver Rabbits. The hero leader snaps that this is a blatant mockery, because the one who pulled it off was banished 3 years ago, and he just can't wrap his head around how Orin had the nerve to do it. Anari snaps at Luna, demanding to know if she even knows what she's talking about, while Derek dismisses it as total nonsense, and Orn refuses to rise above her current S-rank. Luna grabs her comrades and demands, "Tell me what really happened," and every single one of them knows she shouldn't even be getting those answers. Oliver scrambles to figure out his next move, but Inari suddenly erupts, yelling at Luna to stop acting like this. The girl insists Oran's expulsion is his own fault, then turns to Luna and begs her not to ruin the vibes, because they're throwing a party right now. Anari leans in and demands, "Did you get what I said?" And Luna shoots back, "Did Orin come to us?" Then she stares them down like, "So, you're telling me you all set this up?" Derek snaps at Luna, demanding why she's pinning this on them. Then he fires back that it's the other way around, because they're the ones getting framed. Derek says Orn walked out on his own, so the team threw him out for it. Luna stared at Oliver, demanding if any of it was real. Then Oliver snapped back that she had everything completely backwards. He swears Philia didn't join them because of Orn, but Philia snaps back that she's a brand new member of the team, introduces herself with a smile, and begs Luna, "Please don't be angry." The comrades bowed to Luna, swearing they never would have let him hang around, saying he'd already bolted from there. And then they pressed, "Do you want to go find him?" Derek blurts that they've got a new team member and warns Luna not to brush her off, but Luna just turns away and ignores everything her comrade says. Derek's rage flares as he snaps at Luna, demanding to know if she ever actually listens to him. Oliver thrusts himself between Derek and Luna, urging Derek to cool off and stop yelling, then turns to the swordsman and snaps, "You get it too, Luna." He declares with absolute certainty that Owen has already picked his path. Luna refuses to believe that's the truth, She's sure Orn won't let it slide so easily. She says she knows him inside out because they fought through everything together, and she's convinced his power blows theirs out of the water. Luna snaps that without Orange, there's no reason for her to stay with them, and she glares at her comrades like they've let her down. Oliver thinks Luna's got Orn way too overhyped, and he's sure her age won't let her see the truth, so he figures there's no way to change her mind right now. Neri snaps at Luna to calm down, and Luna fires back that it's time for her to come down to earth and face the truth. The girl fires back, asking if her whole life is about to shatter without Orn, and insisting nothing's actually changed without him. Then Anari snaps at Luna that if she hates it, she should just accept it. Luna bristles at her comrade's words, and Oliver snaps back that even if it's true, this isn't the moment to throw fun aside. He tells her that tomorrow they'll kick off their dungeon run, and warns they probably won't snag the 94th floor right away. Then he snaps that she needs to stop, because he knows this isn't the moment to start a scandal. Luna stands there, silent as thunder, staring at the team with cutting, reproachful eyes. Derek rips into her, yelling that if she's got nothing else to say, she should stop wasting their time. Then Oliver snaps back, demanding Derek shut it down. Derek fires back, asking why he has to deal with this when he didn't start it, and Luna steps in to address the team, her voice heavy with regret, as she warns them, "You're going to tear yourselves apart, and you'll drag everyone else down with you." Oliver's stomach drops the moment Luna says they'll destroy themselves. He panics, convinced this trip won't be the last time they face something like this. Oliver insists they won't die even if they climb to the 90th floor, but Luna shoots back. "How can you be so sure?" Oliver declares they've already smashed through every other floor, and even without Orn, they've got this. He snaps that it doesn't mean they're weak, it's the exact opposite. Then Luna leans in and asks, "So what power does Philia even have?" Luna can't stop wondering if she'll ever win, even with Philia backing her up, but she snaps that thought out of the air, calling it total nonsense. Rage starts to burn in Oliver as he snaps at Luna, and the swordsman can't help but wonder how long Luna's been with Orn to get that deeply attached. Oliver whips around to Luna and declares that everything's decided, no debate. Then, right in the next heartbeat, doubt snaps in his own head. He knows this is wrong. Luna says she understands, turns her back on them and starts walking away. Then Oliver blurts her name, but Luna cuts him off like it's already done. Anari bursts out that nothing's over, and Luna keeps pouring gasoline on the chaos, while Derek backs her up, snapping that Orn himself started it all, because he went too far and became painfully insolent. Philia strides up to Oliver and asks if this is the same Luna who used to get along with Orn. Oliver nods and says, "Yep," then tells her Luna just needs rest and some time by herself. Oliver tells her she's absolutely crushed right now, but he's sure she'll find a way to handle it. Philia says she gets it, then tells Oliver they should both chill out for a second, and Oliver fires back that they'd better not drag this out. Then he hands her the glass. Philia mutters to herself that no matter what, this won't be easy, and that everything around her just keeps grinding her nerves. Oliver, not catching what she said, turns to her and fires back, "Wait, did you just say something to me?" Philia lies through her teeth, claiming she just decided to get along with Luna. On the 9th floor of the Southern Labyrinth, level 92, a monstrous demonic beast explodes into attack and Oliver is left scrambling for survival. The boy snaps his guard to block the strike, but then curses as it hits him. He can't break him. He stares at his trembling hand, stunned because his power is draining way too fast. Oliver feels the stone's power slipping fast, and he knows if he doesn't act right now, his body will crack under it. He remembers On could drain the stone for a full hour with zero issues, and he just can't wrap his head around why he can't pull off the same thing. Oliver stares into the labyrinth, freaking out over how many monsters have already torn through it, and how long that must have been. Then he snaps, yelling at Philia. His buff is barely holding on, so she better find him another one right now. Philia is shaking with nerves as she blurts out an apology, insisting she misread it and didn't catch it sooner, while Oliver watches her and thinks, yeah, of course she's still a total newbie, because her battle experience is basically zero, so he sighs and steels himself to wait and stay patient for a while. Oliver clocked it. Philia's aura had totally shifted even after she moved up to the 3rd floor, like the new space flipped something inside her, and Derek promised he'd check with the others. Oliver warned him to stay sharp because the place is packed with blind spots. He snaps that something is moving in the blind spot, maybe a demonic beast, and he screams for his comrades to lock in and stay on guard. Oliver leans in and grills Spilia about how she feels, and whether she can finally use magic now. She shakes her head hard, saying it's impossible right now because the air and the situation aren't right for magic to work properly. Philia darts into an apology for the whole team, and in the same breath she spirals, 10 years as a mage, and now she feels totally useless, like a joke of a person standing there. Oliver snaps at Anari that this is the top floor, then fires back, asking why she's using magic that feels so weak. demanding she gets serious right now. Annery snaps back that she's doing this to dodge a bigger mess later, and Oliver's like, I don't get it. How are you even using low-level magic on something like that? Then it hits him. This isn't small anymore, this is already a serious problem. Derek snaps the team out of it, admitting even he knows things are critical right now. Then he demands, so what do we do next? Oliver figures it out fast. Those attacks won't cut it against this monster. Oliver stares at his sword and remembers every time it saved him, how it could slice through any enemy with ease. So when even his support magic fails now, it hits him hard, because he can't figure out why it suddenly stopped working. Oliver swears it's time to finish him. Then he sees Derek barely blocking the monster's next magical hit, and pure rage explodes out of him as he screams curses. Oliver blurts out, why are we so weak? And the whole team goes dead silent, until Luna shoots back with a sarcastic, I don't even know what answer you're expecting from me. Oliver leans in and fires off a question. He asks Luna if she knows anything, because of course she does. Luna flatly refuses, says he doesn't get it at all, and even she has nothing to say. That sets Annery off, and she screams at Luna, demanding how she can stand there like that while their comrades are in trouble. Luna presses again about the comrades, saying it feels totally wrong, like it shouldn't be happening, and then shrugs it off, staring at Oliver, Derek, and Anira as she snaps that they were weak from the start. Suddenly, a savage loud noise erupts, and Luna snaps into full-on panic. The whole team snaps their heads up, right into the sky, where a massive flying beast they've never seen before is looming overhead, and someone in the group screams, get under cover now. Oliver stares at the creature, trying to name what it is, and swears when he clocks the pitch-black color and those massive wings, bigger than its own body. Then he blurts out that it's swooping closer and closer to them. Oliver's stomach drops as he realizes the boss of the 92nd floor is a black dragon, and the leader of the heroes admits to himself that without Orn, they don't stand a chance against it. Oliver spots it, black scales like slick resin, and realizes nothing seems to faze this dragon, because it can shrug off attacks and slice through a person in seconds, and right then the swordsman feels its terrifying aura crawling up his spine. A black dragon rockets upward, and Oliver whips around to ask the team why it's here, and he's already got the map in his head. The bosses in the southern part of the Great Labyrinth should pop up every 10 floors until the 90th, then every 4 floors after that. He knows floor bosses are monster-level nightmares in close combat, almost unbeatable, but this one's stuck by where it's standing, trapped inside its territory, so it can't roam out and start shredding the dungeon explorers directly. Oliver stares at the screen and realizes the black dragon runs the last 2 levels, so it has no business being here, yet he knows deep down they can't beat it like this. Oliver stared at him in pure horror, like, wait, how is that even possible? The dragon slams down and erupts with a deafening roar. Oliver and Derek get blasted backward like ragdolls, skidding through the air. Oliver just knows how terrifyingly strong it is, because that roar alone launched them so far away. Oliver spots Derek still not getting up, and Luna, the mage healer, rushes in to try and mend him, but when Oliver yells for Derek and still gets silence, he snaps, Philia, what's happening? Philia just zones out, completely unaware of what's unfolding around her, while Oliver locks onto the danger instantly. Everything feels wrong, and he can't even figure out what's happening. The swordsman's mind snaps back to that moment. Derek poured every last drop of power into Orn, and now he realizes the team has to fall back right now. That's when someone shouts for Oliver. Luna screams at him that they stand no chance against the dragon, then orders him to sound the retreat for everyone, right now. Staring at the dragon, Oliver knows they can't run, because even if they retreat, it'll come after them, and rage erupts as he curses and screams that there's no choice left. Oliver grabs Philia by the shoulders and yells, asking if she can move. Philia blinks back to herself and snaps, yes. Then Oliver begs her to be his support, promising she'll fight right beside him, and Philia steadies her resolve. I understand. Oliver's magic supercharges his powers, and he's convinced that's all he needs, because he knows this moment is life or death, so he won't change his game plan. He grips his sword and charges the dragon, sure this is the moment everyone finds out who will win. Then Oliver unleashes magic convergence, and Philia snaps her gaze to the blade as it ignites in a blazing, bright light. Luna tells them that Oliver has this bizarre gift himself, and Philia's jaw drops at what he can do. Philia blurts, so this means we actually stand a chance against the dragon, and Luna nods. Yeah, pretty high, he wipes out monsters with this power. Then she adds, quieter but sharper, still, there was no reason to use it at all. The girl tells him Oliver's gift springs to life, shooting up a magical barrier around the wielder and locking every ounce of power into the sword. It drinks energy in, then blasts it back out. Oliver stares at that golden flash of his blade and knows asterisk, it's packed with insane power, his ultimate trump card, the one move he bets everything on. Oliver rockets forward and smashes the enemy with Skyflash, blasting the dragon and grinning as it lands the hit. Then it hits him. Last raid, this same move tore away its wings, and now he's convinced the dragon won't be getting back up. Oliver roars at the team that without his wings, the black dragon won't dance as fast anymore, so they can finally fall back because the dragon won't be able to chase their pace. The dragon shoots up in an instant, and Oliver has zero idea what's going on because it isn't just one little scratch. Luna snaps in to warn him, and right then the dragon whips its tail through the air. The dragon lashes Oliver with its massive tail, and the entire team freezes in horror at what's happening to them. Oliver hauled himself up and couldn't shake the feeling his skill fizzled out, like they're getting played, like they're about to get wiped by that dragon with 0 wins. Oliver's comrade checks on him, "Are you okay?" And Oliver, panicking, blurts for Luna to tell him what to do right now, screaming that the leader should be calling the shots in a mess like this. Luna snaps at Oliver to get it together, stares him down, then declares they've got no choice. So she tells Oliver to use a spell called the shifting door. Luna realizes that this shifting door slams 2 spaces together on force. So to use it inside the labyrinth, she needs a special item, and the moment she activates it, she'll be teleported straight to a different room right at the floor boss. Luna screams that their team is about to get hauled into a room with yet another boss, but at least this time, they'll finally be able to slip out of the black dragon's grip. Oliver snaps that she's right, then screams at the crew, "We're using the door now." And the moment it opens, a space warp will rip through, forcing everyone to jump in, and the crew fires back, order accepted. Oliver hates saying it, but he knows they've lost. Then a space warp rips open, and Oliver screams, "It's time." The dragon erupts in a furious roar, and the whole team scrambles to keep from getting blasted away by the sheer force. Oliver curses under his breath, then realizes the dragon has slammed the door shut behind them, cutting off any escape. He remembers how clueless the black dragon used to be, and his stomach drops. Then he sees it. The creature rockets straight toward them, and Oliver screams, "Move now." The dragon whirls away, and Luna's throat rips with a scream. This can't be real, like he's just baiting their next move. She tries to blurt, "At this rate," but the words die in her throat, because she spots the dragon banking toward the door. The dragon dives straight into the space distortion, and boom, a massive explosion tears through the air. Oliver is left staring, completely clueless about what just happened. When the smoke finally thins, they're staring at an empty stretch, no dragon, no door to the other room anywhere. Oliver and Luna just freeze in pure shock, and Derek blurts out, "So he's gone." Manara smiles and says, "That means we're saved, and honestly, that's pretty great." Luna freezes in pure disbelief and snaps at Nairi, "How are you even saying that? Do you really have any idea what this all means?" Oliver says this is the worst it's ever been, because the black dragon has slipped into another boss's room, and now unsuspecting explorers stumbling through the dungeon can run straight into it. He swears he never thought that shifting door would even touch monsters, and Derek shoots back, "So what do we do now?" Luna snaps back that the very first move is to haul themselves back to the guild and slam in a request, because they'll have to be forced to return to use the spell. Derek asks what forced return even means, and Luna fires back that it's the guild card's power to yank every adventurer out of the labyrinth and back outside. Derek asks, can a guild card even pull that off? And Philia snaps back that since they have no idea where the dragon is, they don't really have another option. Oliver blurts out that this is probably going to land them a massive fine, then snaps back that they've got no time to worry about that. Hurry, now. He can't even process how this all went so wrong. The whole team races through the maze-like hallways on the 92nd floor, and then someone shouts Oliver's name. Yuna starts laying out the next move, find the black dragon and kill it, but then she hits them with the brutal truth. With their team as it is right now, they can't pull it off. The girl steps forward with pure confidence, declares that they have to drag Oran back to the team, and then, together, tear through every boss room until they track down the black dragon. The whole team freezes at Luna's bombshell, and rage sparks in a few members, so they snap that she's really trying to kick Philia out and put Orn in her place, demanding to know if she's seriously joking. Luna snaps back that she's dead serious. She says they treated him horribly, so even asking for his help is downright shameful for them, but the truth is, without him, they can't survive the black dragon. Luna snaps that he was supposed to be in the labyrinth today with the Silver Rabbit researchers, and once everyone gets teleported up to the surface, she'll finally try to win him over. Derek is absolutely furious with how this is going to play out. He demands to know why they ever gave him up, then roars that this would never happen again, insisting today is nothing but bad luck for them, and their powers have zero to do with it. Luna snaps back, furious, asking if he really still believes that. Luna lunges into a question. Do you remember what I told you before that dragon showed up about our group falling apart? And Oliver nods, then blurts, yeah, I remember, but what does it mean? Luna insists it's always been like this. Nothing in her, nothing in them has ever actually changed. Oliver blurts out, demanding what's wrong, because she just proved Heavenly Flash couldn't scratch the dragon. Then he snaps at her, asking why his strongest skill failed. Luna stays calm and says the answer is simple. She swears it all went wrong because Orn wasn't at his side. No way the boost was strong enough, so that Flash had to fizzle out. And yeah, she's confident it's safe to say they've finally witnessed the real, terrifying power of his skill. Rage spikes in Oliver as Luna's words hit him. What? He demands, and she's clearly messing with him, because she tells him that to crank up Oliver's defenses, Derek's next attack, and Inari's magical power, Orn forged his own one-of-a-kind spells. She asks Oliver how support magic even works, and Oliver tells her straight up. The boost power rises from the caster, while the buff's duration is all about who gets hit. Luna says the boost usually sticks around for about 3 minutes, then Philia just has to refresh the buffs, and Luna asks if she nailed it. Philia grins and says she's almost right. Philia claims that this buff won't even scratch 2 minutes on anyone, because their whole team's magic resistance is way higher than normal, and she's dead certain Oliver is the worst of the bunch, with the buff barely lasting a minute on him. Oliver's like, I should have said this earlier, then he quickly snaps in. Philia's skills are way better than Oren's, so why swap her out at all? Luna shoots back that Oliver's right. Her own skills are better, no question. Then she adds one catch. If Orn doesn't follow the same amplification rules as everyone else, it's not anywhere near that simple. Oliver blurts out, what does that mean, Luna? And she snaps back that Orn knew all along his healing skills were far weaker than the other healers. She spells it out, this is how he refuses to fold, and how he turns his failures into power by crafting several one-of-a-kind spells. Oliver admits those spells left him helpless against the other healers, and Luna snaps back that he's dead wrong. Luna claims he's blown past every healer with his fresh skills, and says he boosted the effect a full 50 times. Oliver's jaw drops in disbelief. Philia bursts out that it's impossible, because even Selma, the strongest healer across the whole continent, can only pull off a 10-fold boost. Luna admits she might not sound believable, but it's the truth. This effect won't last even a second, and yet Orn still landed it in real combat. She says the group's success happened only because Orn's spells were pulling the strings, and when Oliver blurts, wait, what's going on? She snaps back that Orn's skill power is the whole reason behind it. Luna admits it straight up. Yep, it's true, and says Oliver and Inari only pulled off that win because Orn's spell is unlike anything else. She adds that once Oliver linked into Orn's support magic, his powers kicked in way faster than before. She's convinced that if they plan their timing right, they can rip the Black Dragon's wings straight off. Oliver finally clicks into what's really happening, and when Luna leans into Neri, she admits she even mistook Orn's support magic for her own power. Luna tells them that no matter how they strain, she and Orn still can't even hear the dragon, and she points out Inari's only been using mid-level magic lately, easy to trigger. Luna says Yunari can't keep using that slow, high-class magic anymore, because it eats all his time and focus, so Yunari explodes, yelling that the buff can't be taken away. Luna tells them, when I first joined, you were already level 86, then leans in and asks if that worked out fine for her. Luna tells everyone that Orn tried to push her toward the intermediate level, but she shut it down flat, said it was just too much hassle for her, and Anuri seethes over Luna's words. Derek presses, asking if Orn was cranking up his attack back then too, and Luna snaps back that yep, this was the same boost. Plus, even with the activation happening instantly, his power is still sitting at full maximum. She adds that once the buff time runs out, even with the gear and magic supercharged by his spell, there's zero heaviness in her body, and somehow, that support magic ends up being stronger than she expected. Derek, Anari, and Oliver are left staring in disbelief after Luna drops the bomb about Orn, and how his influence has been shaping their whole team. Luna knows she's been repeating herself again and again, but she's praying they finally get why she fought so hard to keep Orn from being kicked out of the heroes. Oliver finally admits he gets everything now, but the moment he understands, it's already far too late. At the gate of the Southern Labyrinth, a bunch of explorers locked eyes with the heroes, because just this morning they'd heard the heroes were diving into the dungeon's depths with a brand new healer, and now they're back already, sprinting out way too fast. People are buzzing that this brand new healer is insanely good, and honestly, that kind of talent makes sense when you've got a squad of heroes backing you up. They're even sure they've cleared level 94. The team overhears explorers bragging about them, how they're S-rank, fearless and brave enough to stand against the deadliest monsters in the deep, the ones nobody survives, claiming the heroes are the only hope all explorers have. Oliver seethed with regret, cursing under his breath as he questioned whether they could honestly call themselves heroes. He realizes it's their fault. Because of them, every explorer in this labyrinth is now in danger, and he admits, face full of shame, that they don't deserve the title of heroes after letting the Black Dragon slip free with not a scratch. Oliver believes they have to smash this problem right now, and he's certain they won't survive without Orn. Hours before everything kicks off, Orn slips into the labyrinth, and the moment he steps in, dread hits him hard, screaming that this place is trouble. On the day they finally explore, they're stuck on the labyrinth's 36th level, and Orn's promising, with total certainty, that today is when it all ends. He can't stop thinking about it. Today they're jumping from level 36 to 50, and once they hit 51, they'll make the return trip using the transition crystal. The young man realizes nothing's changed from before. Basic magic is still tough, and the boss fights are still on the leader's shoulders, so it should be quick, yet something's still gnawing at him. He feels the labyrinth's air crush down on him today, and then he spots Logan Hayward from the 10th squad, so he can't help wondering if it's the way Logan's staring at him. Orn realizes some things matter more right now, so he whips around to Caroline and demands a second to talk. Caroline Ingrid from the 10th squad instantly nods and demands to know what happened, while the young man blurts that he wanted to share advice for her future, so she snaps back, way too impatient, asking what kind of advice he thinks he can give. Orn points out that in yesterday's fight, Caroline tried to take out the enemy by herself, then reminds her that a protector's job isn't to go solo and get herself killed. It's to draw the enemy's focus and let the allies finish the job. Caroline snaps back that if she pulls back, it crushes the others, so that's why she's always charging straight into the front lines to fight. She leans in and asks Orn if there's a way to make solo battles easier, but he shakes his head and tells her the truth. Never trust you're enough by yourself, and from now on, fight as a team with everyone. He leans in and tells Caroline that Selma swears even Albert, the old ace of the Silver Rabbit, still counted on his allies. Orn remembers it like it just happened. Albert Sensible, the strongest Silver Rabbit, died last year during a brutal fight with the level 92 boss, the Black Dragon. Selma says his absence hit the Silver Rabbits hard, and he's convinced that's why they got pushed off their leadership spot and handed it to the hero group. He worries the Black Dragon spells disaster for the heroes, and if it goes bad, someone could be killed in that fight, just like Albert. Caroline hit Orn with the truth. Albert was dead because he took the fall for his partner, the one who was supposed to protect him. So after he died, those partners just grew cold and gloomy, and the rest stayed the same. The girl says she's done trying to keep people close, because if she's the only one who charges into the front lines, then everyone else stays safe. Spying the grit in the girl's eyes, Orn, an outsider, swallows his urge to meddle and steps back, telling Caroline he gets her, that he has nothing else to say, and pushing her to give it everything she's got today. Caroline wrestles with the idea for a beat, then flashes a sweet smile, and gives Oran's request a confident yes. Caroline charges ahead, convinced she has to push harder, while Sophia calls out to Orin. He turns to the boy, asks if something's wrong, then the girl jumps in, requesting permission to speak before spilling her concern. Sophia leans in and quizzes him. What skills do you think I'm missing? Then presses for the real answer. Tell me what I've got to do to get stronger. He frets over her question, repeats it under his breath, and then remembers how she always goes too far with the magic she throws. So he decides to answer carefully, because he can't afford to hurt her feelings. Orn leans in and tells Sophia to explain, right now, how she thinks magic works. Sophia says magic is a force that lets you command the air and stir the whole world around you, yet only demonic beasts can wield it, so humans built magic techniques to hunt them, and now people without magic use those same tricks to pull off effects that feel just like it. Orn thinks she mostly nailed it, but the real truth is sharper. In that phenomenon, the technique and magic aren't separate at all. They're the same thing. Orn realizes people might get lost and rushes in, saying she gets the gist. Then he points out that she's already clued in on how to activate magic. Sophia breaks it down for everyone. Activating magic comes in 2 stages. Technique, then construction, fueled by the magic power that surges in. She lays it out. Technique construction means you carve a spell from the basic magic formulas by tweaking its power and range, and the magic power influx is when that built technique bursts outward, spilling into the world. Orn realizes she went way too hard for a beginner, and before she can even panic, he cheers her on, telling her she truly gets magic. Then Sophia gratefully thanks him for the compliment. The young man tells her, all right then, I'll show you the next level techniques, and Sophia lights up like she just won the lottery. The researchers have already smashed their way to the 40th level of the labyrinth, and Oron starts spilling the secrets of a parallel unification. Orn says it's like snapping words into shape until they click into sentences, and she's doing it with multiple techniques at once. To him, it's the kind of skill advanced mages absolutely need. Sophia shoots back that stacking all those techniques at once feels brutal, and asks if she even can pull it off. Orn grins, says if you prostrate then anyone can manage it, and adds that Logan has used this move before. Orn tells Sophia that some folks can smash together as many as **10 techniques at once, and Sophia's jaw drops at how insane that number really is. Sophia can't shake the question of why parallel unification matters so much, and Orn leans in to explain. There are 4 kinds of magic, elementary, intermediate, advanced, and special level spells are mostly reserved for the high ranks. Oran explains that even at low levels, there are plenty of demons you can't drop with just one technique, so you might repeat the move, but it takes time to set off, and that window is when the mage is at his absolute weakest. So this is why the kid basically calls it the ultimate cheat code. Parallel unification is just so convenient. He also claims that once one magical technique hits the halfway point, another one kicks off at the exact same time, so she can fire up her magic like a well-oiled machine. Sophia shoots back that she gets it all, and then grins, saying it's a good thing she's got a little extra time to burn. She can't help wondering, are low-level demons really that terrifying? Then Orn cuts in and says they're not unbeatable, they're just a pain to take down with only one technique. Ornan also tells them to team up and blast with mid-level magic, even though the attack meter stays small, and he insists that how you use the magic is what decides whether it hits hard or fizzles out. Sophia tells Orn that this is super educational, and she'll grind to master the parallel fusion technique, and Orn tells her to push even harder. He's sure she'll be fighting at an intermediate level in no time, so he suggests she get one of Silver Rabbit's seniors to help drill her in training. He tells them Selma would probably love the job, and Sophia nods along with Oran, then adds that Oran himself would make the better teacher. Orn blurts in shock, "Wait, is it really you?" And Sophia, cheeks burning, admits it's him, then meets his gaze with pleading eyes and asks softly if he'll teach her. Orn can't stop staring at Sophia and blurts that he'll teach her, but then Selma's warning glare flashes back in his mind. Fear hits hard as he imagines how she'll react. He tells her he's praying Selma will finally let him teach Sophia, because he knows he's the outsider. Happy Sophia leans in and asks, "Is it true you agreed?" She laughs it off, saying Selma's always been kind to her, so everything's fine, right? Then she thanks him for saying he'll train her, and while Orn figures Sophia must really think the world of her sister, Selma suddenly sneezes. After a while, Sophia snaps that they've stepped into the boss's territory, then nudges Orn, "It's your turn," and tells him good luck, and the young man grins back, promising, "I'll be back in no time." The group leaders are pounding through the labyrinth's level 40 boss zone, and Kat shoots back that every single newcomer is safe. Selma says they can start whenever they want, then announces, "This is our first battle together," and orders them to stick to their roles. Bernard and Ansem beg Orn to watch over them, and the young man shoots back that they can lean on him. Orn declares, "This time I'm the support, and I'll pull out every trick in the book." He's so certain they'll take down the level's boss in seconds that the group leaders just burst out laughing, thinking it's basically impossible. Orin whips around to where the newcomers are hiding and barks at them, not to show themselves yet. The girls immediately nod along. Sophia can't believe it. This is the first time she's ever seen the leaders clash side by side, and the power in them is unreal. Their fights against enemies hit totally different. She clocked Orn in the back, and the two defenders harassed the boss's legs, while Selma and Katie blasted its upper body with magic. Sophia knows this fight is picture perfect, and every single person has stepped up and crushed their part. Staring at the fallen boss, he finally gets it. This is it, a power level so special it hits like lightning. The girls can't believe how fast they wrapped it up, and Sophia blinks in awe like, "I want to be like that." Then Caroline and Sophia turn to Orn and hype him up, praising him like he just nailed the whole thing. Bernard closes in on Ansem, and Ansem can't even process it, because just like Oran said, they crushed the challenge in seconds. The boys stare in total disbelief, scrambling to figure out how they pulled it off. Anjem clocks that Orn's swordwork is barely A rank, and he's pretty sure it's because they never had a real heavy hitter for a boss, which is why they wiped him out in no time. Bernard nods along with the others, and as Orn says he hasn't swung a sword in ages, the truth hits hard. Ansem can't shake the feeling that the boss isn't really in control, like something is puppeteering him. Bernard can't believe it. He blurts out that this can't be real, then fires off to his comrade whether Oran did this. Ansem shrugs and admits he has no clue, but tells him it's totally possible. He pauses, then blurts out, "Wait, when I replay it in my head, I realize I clocked something during that boss fight." Ansem says that before the monster could even swing, Orn already knew what it would try, because every animal instinctively has an opening move, so he struck the boss's weak spots first, stopping its attack dead in its tracks. The young man says Orn hasn't touched a sword in ages, yet his intuition is razor sharp, and asks how anyone could stay like that without gripping a blade for years. His comrade just scoffs, "That's hard to believe." But now he remembers yesterday. Oren swore he was going into the labyrinth's deepest depths by himself, and that's why the seriousness was so heavy on him. Ansem admits that after hearing him speak, inspiration surged through him, and now he's dead set on pushing himself with everything he's got to reach exactly what he wants. Bernard tells his comrades they're in for long, brutal grinding, then hypes Orn as pure genius, while Ansem is already thinking level 50's boss is going to hit them with the same terrifying fate. The 5 leaders line up at level 50, facing the boss in full view, and Selma blazes out that if they wipe this monster off the map, their mission is finally done. Selma bursts with excitement, urging them to crush him fast and head home, and the leaders shout back that they'll definitely do it. Orn charges the boss, screaming at his teammates that he's about to cut off his left claw, then demands they cover him while he goes in. Bernard blurts a shout, "Oren, can you do it?" But the kid is already springing at the monster, sword raised and ready to strike. Orn snaps to it, this is the moment, so he unleashes his original magic and slams an instant hyperability boost into action. Bernard and Anzim stare in disbelief as Oran blasts forward, one swing of his sword, and he chops off the claw like it's nothing, yelling in shock at how strong he is. They wiped out the 50th level's boss and cheered like they'd finally won. Then the space ripped open and he dropped in out of nowhere, because the hero's mistake yanked that creature straight to their floor, and it couldn't survive anywhere else. The black dragon snatches the lives of deep-sea explorers in the blink of an eye, like the ocean itself just swallowed them. Selma stares at the demonic thing, fear slamming into her, and by its terrifying aura, she realizes it's a black dragon, but she can't wrap her head around why it's here at all. Meanwhile, the newcomers and group leaders fixate on the black dragon, and pure horror takes over their faces. A dragon is about to tear into the explorers, and Selma knows she has to give the command, but her legs buckle, her whole body turns to ice, and she can't move. She realizes her body has turned against her, and she's not alone, everyone's terrified too, while Selma keeps swearing she has zero idea what to do next. Orn roars at the leaders, and they snap around at his shout. Orn tells them they have to protect the newcomers. Selma swears Orn is the only one who's still sane, and she finally realizes it's true, because Orn is the one who's right. She orders Katie to throw up a barrier, while Anzim and Bernard brace to fight. Selma screams at them to lock into defensive positions, then demands they smash back the dragon's assault, because everyone's counting on their hands. Selma believes the leaders won't fail them, and that they'll shield everyone. Then 2 of those leaders step forward and unleash a defense backed by magic. They planted themselves before that blazing whirlwind charging straight at them, and death hit like a cold punch. Orn unleashes the instant mega ability boost. Katie watches her magical barrier start to glitter, and Orn's strange magic turbocharges it, 10 times stronger in a heartbeat, while Orn and the defenders brace themselves for the dragon to hit. A dragon crashes in for an attack, but nobody moves. Everyone stays right where they are. Orn watches his comrades with relief pounding in his chest, because this time it actually worked, and they all stay alive. He can't wrap his head around it. Level 9B4 dragon is right here with them, and there's barely any room for even deep monsters to move. Orn can't stop thinking that the level boss arenas might have grown, but the moment he pictures it, he knows it's way too cramped for the dragon to fit there. He stares at the terrifying beast right in front of them, and his mind screams, what kind of nightmare chased it this far? How did it end up here? Oren scrambles to figure out how to survive this place. Then the bomb hits. The crab boss for this level is already taken down by them, which means the 51st level is wide open, and the transitional crystal is almost within reach. He whips around to Selma among the newcomers and thinks, if we push now, we can still reach the transition crystal in time, and make it to the next 4. Then he realizes everyone's frozen in terror, like their bodies won't obey, so it hits him. Only he can break free and save himself. He figures the crowd's packed with magic, so the black dragon will likely barrel straight for the newcomers, and he clings to the hope that this is his one real shot to slip away. Oren snaps and refuses, no matter what, because the only way out is to go toe-to-toe with the black dragon. He's telling himself, yeah, I just had to escort these newbie researchers up to level 51, but he can't walk away. He's locked in on saving everyone. Orn snaps to the truth. Since so many can't move, the escape plan dies there. If he wants to save everyone, he's got one shot. Take on the dragon, blast it to white, and stop pretending there's any other way. Soma clocks Orn charging in to strike the monster, so he whips a dagger straight into the dragon's eye. Orn roars to get the dragon's gaze, then hurls his sword straight at its eye, praying he finally lands the hit. Ansem roars that he really tossed the spare sword straight into the dragon's eye, then Bernard snaps back. It would have flew right off his eyelid anyway. The moment it lands, the pieces click. Ansem didn't miss on accident, he did it on purpose, waiting for that black dragon to shut its eyes. Orn fires an instant hyper ability boost from the sky the second that dragon shuts its eyes. He charges at the dragon with everything he's got, unleashing a full force attack. Orn slammed onto the ground, and Selma scrambled to check if he made it, while the dragon's thunderous roar shook the air. Orn stares at the dragon and mutters, yeah, as I feared, you can't just beat something like that. Then the pendant at his neck suddenly flares with sparkling light. Selma snapped her gaze to Orn, checking if he was okay. Then he insisted he was fine, and told her and the other leaders to do everything they could to protect the newcomers. He declares he's going to take on the dragon, swears he's got the upper hand, and tells them not to worry. The young man snaps that the newcomers are terrified, so he orders them to freeze where they stand, and swears he'll protect them for sure. He decides the first move is simple: get the dragon's eyes on him, or at least pull off a distraction so the dragon notices him. The creature lunges for the young man, and a massive fireball starts swelling in the sky, while Orn just stands there, convinced there's still only a little bit left. The young man braces, staring down the dragon as it prepares to strike. Then he can't stop wondering if his simple technique will be enough to shove that attack back. He slams up a reflective barrier, catches the dragon's attack on it, and his fireball ricochets right off the shield, straight toward the dragon. Orn's barrier slams the attack away, and he stays totally unscathed, while the newcomers freeze in disbelief at how his magic didn't just stop the blow, it sent it flying back. Reflective barrier isn't a trick at all. It's Orn's original technique, and it turns defense into a deadly counterattack, bouncing every strike off the barrier at a perfect right angle. Orn snickers to himself, wondering what his own flames would taste like in a dragon's mouth. But the dragon's roar hits even harder, and Selma freezes, stunned that he's still standing unscathed. Orn locks in, stares down the dragon with pure determination, and slams strength and all stats to jack up every single one of his stats. Felia had the kind of rare, brutal skill it takes to crank every stat to the max, something only top-tier mages can even touch, and she used it on Oliver right when they were going toe-to-toe with the dragon in their final battle. Selma thinks he already burned through his stat boost, but then she spots it. Orn's support magic has skyrocketed to almost double, and she snaps, this still isn't enough. Now she's stuck in her head, wondering if she should step in and boost him. Oren keeps stacking all stats boost, then slams on the overlay technique like a whole new power-up. Selma's jaw drops when she realizes Orn just pulled off the imposition technique. He slams it 3 times, then 4 more. By the end, he's already at 5 and the total power skyrockets. Selma is completely lost. This is the first time she's watched Orn get hit by a stacking effect, and it's not just once, it's 5 times, and that terrifying aura around him sends chills through her. She admits she can't even begin to picture just how strong Orn has become now. Orn barrels straight at the dragon, and the beast howls, swiping with its tail, but Orn vanishes in a blink, leaving it to crash on empty air. Orn twists out of the dragon's slash, and the explorers stare as he's suddenly hanging high on a cliff, already there in the blink of an eye, so they just stand in awe of how insanely fast he moved. Selma snaps to the truth. This isn't her usual power boost technique at all, and she scrambles to figure out exactly what method they used. Selma wrestles with the truth. Support magic can't be cast, and even if you keep firing those support spells back to back, each new one wipes out whatever came before. Then it hits her thanks to Oran's original technique. They can be layered on top of each other, and she's convinced it's nothing short of a magical glitch. Quarterly stacking lets the very same spell hit with a X5 power boost, and since Orn can double his support magic, that X5 stacking cranks it all the way up to a mind-blowing 32 times. But here's the catch, this move only buffs Orn, and it burns out fast, so it only works for a short, decisive fight. Orn is on the verge of collapse, blood gushes from his nose, yet he still stacks 30 techniques at once, and the crushing weight slams into his body. Orn stares down the dragon and realizes he's got to shut this down fast. When Oliver was just a kid, he and Orn went doing Sedana, and bandits swept in, robbed them blind, and killed everyone. Later, 2 boys stumbled on all those corpses, and Oliver finally told them what happened. 2 boys lurk by a cemetery until Oliver leans in and swears to Orn. He'll get stronger, and nobody, no one at all, will ever take a thing from them again. Orn vows that strength is coming for him too, and nobody will suffer for nothing, because no matter what's happening, he's strong enough right now to guard the people he loves. He's convinced that if he wants to stop losing again, he has to chase power and knowledge, so he becomes a researcher, and then the truth hits him. To protect everyone, he only has to tear down the barrier right in front of him. He squares up to a colossal dragon and shrugs, thinking, this isn't complicated, I just have to beat the enemy. Selma doesn't buy it. She's sure Orn never planned to take down that dragon solo. She realizes that getting the overlay effect to work, and somehow boosting all power at the same time, has to be brutally hard, like it's beyond anything reality ever let her imagine. The girl finally gets it. Her only job is to shield the newcomers so Orn can focus. But even then, the workload just stays brutally massive. Orn dashes forward and rockets into the air. Right above the dragon, Sona panics, because in the sky he's wide open and way easier to hit, and then Orn grins and tells the dragon, that was a perfect move. The young man declares he'll never break, then fires off magic and summons a huge black platform that floats beneath his feet. Selma watches him land on it, completely stunned, like she can't make sense of what Orn just pulled off. Orn plants his steps on it, and Banner immediately thinks it's aerial backup. Then Selma blurts out, "Is this you, Orn?" Because she's never seen anything like it in her life. Turns out this is Orn's magic concentration. Magic that only Oliver and Orn can use, and it works by grabbing magic itself and then manifesting it into reality. Even though Oliver swings it like an offensive weapon, this magic can do way more, because once he lets it loose, it can launch him straight through the air. Orn surges with sense boost and stamina boost, then blasts himself with instant mega ability boost, and carves the dragon's neck clean off with a savage sword slash. The dragon bellows in agony, and the 10th group instantly realizes Orin has slammed him with a brutal, life-threatening injury. Orn slams back onto the ground, eyes locked on the battle. Selma catches it in his expression and knows right away it's way too soon to celebrate. Rage exploded inside the dragon, and it got even more furious. Or spots a massive explosion nearby, and the other leaders stare in shock, totally baffled by what's going on. Orn barely slips past the dragon's magical blast, then out of nowhere Sophia blurts, "Wait, what is that?" as she points at a huge black thing sitting between the dragon and Orn. Sophia watches the smoke billow out of the blast and thinks that dragon has reshaped it, like a weapon. Then she can't help but wonder, can a black dragon even pull off something like that? Orn snaps to it. This explosion is the same kind of setup as Magide Focus, and he realizes the black dragon's whole threat boils down to 2 moves. Fireball and the high-speed tail strike. And beyond that, he unleashes the nightmare move called *purple haze ***, smoke that snaps into a whip or a spear, letting him strike his opponent from every single angle. Orn's stomach drops when he realizes these dragon fights have never been this brutal. This is the first time it's coming this hard, and he knows the real battle hasn't even started yet. Orn screams that he'll force him to strike with everything he's got, then blasts him with fire flash. He swings his sword at the dragon, trying to land a fatal wound, but the blade just won't bite through those scales, and Orn instantly realizes this dragon's body is insanely tough. The dragon whips Orn with its tail, then the boy feels the pace skyrocket, knows he can't dodge it at all, and snaps, "I have to stop this attack." Orn slams down a stone wall spell, and the dragon can't land a single hit on him. The young man realizes there's no other option. He has to keep his distance from the dragon. A dragon tears through the stone wall Orn built, and the young man just can't wrap his head around what he's seeing. Ornading gets slammed by the monster again, but he snaps up a reflective barrier and blocks it. Then Orn grins, thinking how insanely lucky he is to have his own original magic that can stop blows like that. The explorers stare as Orn and that dragon tear into each other, and Logan just blurts out that it's one terrifying battle. Sophia snaps with worry over Orn, while Selma panics, because all Orn can do now is dodge. He can't attack at all. Orn remembers it clearly. Back when he teamed up with heroes to face that dragon, Derek and Luna swirled the mist under control, while Oliver and Inari smashed it to pieces using the raw power of pyro. He can't stop asking himself, can he really juggle all these roles by himself? Orn swears he'll never lose to the dragon, then remembers his old comrades, and vows he won't lean on them this time. The young man screams that he'll take down the dragon by himself, then he charges straight at it with everything he's got. The dragon is about to strike too, and Orn suddenly spots the opening. During the attack, it's totally vulnerable. So he wastes no time, commits fully, and charges straight at the dragon. Caroline realizes he's being used as bait, then dashes and slips every strike to keep everyone safe. Caroline claims his dodges move like a real defender. Pure skill, tight footwork, and lightning-fast reads. The girl can't stop gushing about how incredible Orn is, and while the young man keeps darting out of danger, he realizes something huge. Derek or not, he can dodge on his own, so with every attack missing, there's no need for the heal Luna was handling either. He figures Oliver's physical blows don't bother him at all. What messes him up is only Inari's magic, the kind of attack that actually hits where it counts. He surges forward and sprints straight at the dragon, and Orn stares in shock as he realizes it's still not harmed. So he flips his plan on the spot, choosing to draw the dragon's attention instead of trying to kill it. Orn snaps into action, flooding him with magical spells, even as he realizes he's never cast this many at once. As the spells swirling around the dragon snap to life, they rain down and start tearing into him, and Orn throws out a calm truth. He knows that magic won't hurt him much, so he's already set up something special just for this moment. Orn launches the spell * sequential empowerment, smashing straight into the dragon like a strike that won't miss. The spells keep battering forward with fresh fury, and Selma erupts in a scream, because these magic attacks have gotten way stronger. Sequential strengthening is a special magic formula Oran crafted before every spell. It drinks in magical energy from the air and shoves it straight into the magic, supercharging the cast, and it's his original power. Orn realizes his magic has finally matched the Nary's. Then the youth slams in magic convergence, and Selma's eyes widen as she spots Orn's blade drenched in terrifying power. Orn can't believe it, this is Oliver's golden blade at all. His sword has turned pitch black, like it's been branded by pure darkness, and then boom, he charges the dragon with raw, blazing fury. He fires off Skyflash. A massive explosion erupts out of nowhere, and every single person watching can't stop staring, blown away by how powerful it is. Orn decides he'll take the roles of every single member of the group himself, because in his mind, that's the only way to become the perfect swordsman. He slams the dragon with Heavenly Flash, and the instant that blinding light hits, he unleashes his instant mega ability boost. Orn figures he should at least strip the thing of its wings after all that effort to strike. Then the smoke clears, and the young man freezes in horror as he realizes the dragon is totally unharmed. The boy stares in disbelief. Somehow the dragon is totally unhurt. No way it dodged that lightning flash, he thinks. Then his eyes lock on the torn tip of its tail, and he realizes it must have snapped back to take the hit. Orn can't wrap his head around how that dragon guessed his next move, because in his mind, the spell was its first time seeing it. So now he's forced to stop and figure out what he's doing next. Orn didn't realize it yet, but long before that dragon crawled into view, Oliver had already used the exact same move on him. So when the dragon understood what it could do, he snapped his tail up to shield himself. The young man stared down the dragon and felt the moment snap, time to drop the jokes, because from this second on, everything was going to get dead serious. The boy channels magic convergence and rockets straight into the air, slamming toward the dragon that's already charging at him. Orn realizes his support magic is about to die out, and just as Selma screams his name, she storms in, swearing she'll help, then fires off her magic with an ability boost. Oring thinks that if he calls on any other support magic right now, he'll lock himself out of convergence. Selma's shocked when her own magic fizzles out. Then Oring snaps, "I don't need your help." He insists everything's fine, then slams the point home to Selma, "Protect the students first." Selma figures out this has to be Orn's power, and then it hits her. He doesn't need her help at all. She snaps at him to end this fight with the dragon already and to push harder. Orn charges back into the fight, unleashing increase all stats like a full-on power surge. The dragon slips Orn's strike, and the boy's stomach drops as he realizes he can't beat him in the air. So he steels himself to slam him down to land, because that's the only shot he's got. The boy chooses to blast him with a magic strike that powers up in a step-by-step chain. The dragon rockets toward Orn as the boy scrambles to figure out his skills' exact attack angles, because hitting a dragon in midair feels impossible. So Orn slams up a reflective barrier. He decides to flip the attack's direction mid-fight. Then the young man lands a savage wound on the dragon, cackling because he's convinced it's finally trapped, and he hammers it again with a lightning strike. Lightning blast smashes the dragon, yet Orn is racked with unbearable pain. He swears it's the cost of burning too much magic, but there's no way he can back down now. The young man snaps to the truth. Now he has to stack his spells in order, one upgrade after another, to slam his magic stronger. Sophia cheers as she watches Orn smash the dragon. What she's seeing blows her mind. Orin swears the dragon's trapped, snatches the sword, and the spell magic convergence slams into the dragon as he grips it. He cranked on Heavenly Flash and instant mega ability boost at the same time. A massive blast tears the sky apart, and the dragon crashes hard onto the ground. Caroline and Logan scream that the dragon is down, and that Orn did it. Then Selma yells at Orn as the boy stands right in front of the fallen beast. Bannard blurts that he can't see a thing, but then grins and swears this isn't over. Selma shoots back, asking if he's still not giving up after all this. Sophia can't even pretend it's a surprise. Her little sister worships Orn because he's basically their hero. Orn's eyes flare when he realizes the dragon can't take to the skies, and he finally grins. He's pinned the beast to the ground at last. That dragon still fights, and Selma grabs Orn's name, because she can feel the pressure crashing in while he somehow still has strength to spare. Then Orn hard decides he'll have to break out a different move. The young man swings his spell, Magic Blade, like a weapon made of pure power. Selma spots a dark muck crawling in by Orn, and before she can even figure out where the pressure is coming from, she's fighting for her life just to keep from getting yanked into the air. So she stares horrified at what Orn is actually doing. Logan spots Orn gripping a massive black blade, and Selma blurts, "Did you summon that thing out of thin air?" She swears the sword spits out pure terror, like it was forged from concentrated magic, so dark it practically screams. Magic Blade is a spell forged by smashing magic convergence together with weapon creation. Then it crushes condensed magic into a real, usable weapon. Summer is convinced that even without tapping the instant mega ability boost, this power still outclasses special class magic. The dragon lunges at Orn, and Sophia snaps a warning in his face. So Orn finally clocks what's happening. That monster, going all in, and it's basically fighting like he's doing it back. Orn slaps up his reflective barrier and smashes the dragon's attack dead in its tracks, and Caroline can't help but cheer, gushing that he actually managed to block it. Orn slams down reflective barriers one after another, and Selma can't figure out why he's stacking them so relentlessly. Then she hits on an idea. Soma grins and claims he'll use those barriers like stepping stones to strike the dragon from above. Orn rockets in from the sky and smashes the dragon, then boosts his weight to hit even harder. A massive explosion erupts, and Selma's vision gets swallowed by choking smoke, so she frantically worries, is Orn okay, and what in the world happened to the dragon? The dragon drops dead, and Selma can't breathe as she stares at the corpse right in front of her. Orn bursts out of the smoke, barely even lifting a step, and glides straight toward the researchers' group. Sophia spots Orn and her whole face lights up. Then every researcher rushes over like a wave, all of them sprinting to meet him, and Orn goes wide-eyed as the newcomers shout his name and grin while they come barreling in. Right before Orn brought the dragon down, the guild council was already buzzing. Then, in the Adventurers Guild, someone burst in shouting that an urgent message had just arrived. Luna slams her hand down and demands the guildmaster be called. No time to waste, she yells, and they better hurry. Luna was ready to announce they were from Heroes United. Then she blurted out mid-sentence, "Nope, we're from Golden Dawn." She thinks about how everyone keeps tossing the name, Heroes United, around lately, but the truth is their real crew is called Golden Dawn. 9 years ago, she, Orn, and Oliver picked that name together. Someone shouts Luna's name, and Alina, the Golden Dawn Guild member in charge, orders them to the message room, saying the leader will be summoned instantly, and Luna flashes her gratitude. In the meeting room, Luna shoots them an instant apology for summoning everyone out of nowhere. Then she locks eyes with the guild leader, Leon Conti, and the rest of the executives. The leader fires back, asking what they want. Luna snaps, demanding they haul every single adventurer out of the dungeon, and she makes it clear, if they have to use force to get everyone out, then that's exactly what they're doing. One of the leaders roared over the chaos, shouting Luna's words again and again. Luna stares at the truth. Oliver was supposed to steer these negotiations, but he refuses to move an inch, so she realizes Oren's been carrying the weight all along, and she snaps into action because she can't let this slide. The guild leader snaps that forced return isn't a casual spell, it takes a whole crew prepping for it, so they'll only start if someone gives them a damn good reason. Leon Conti tells them not to rush, then demands to know exactly what happened, so Luna shoots back that she'll keep it short. She tells him she'll spell out everything in detail later, and the reason she's pushing these drastic moves is simple. There's a real chance the Black Dragon, the boss of the 92nd floor, could start slipping to other floors. Luna's words slam the guild leader and the other leaders straight into shock. She insists someone may have already crossed paths with him, and she's sure the adventurers won't be able to resist him. She says once the forced return hits, they'll start hunting the dragon right away, but first she begs for one spell, so they can save people's lives before it all goes down. The whole team drops into a bow to the guild leader, and the man nods back, saying he gets it, and if what they claimed is real, then this situation is beyond critical. She fires back that, just like Luna said, he'll hear every detail later. Leon Conti fires the idea straight at them, let's settle this by vote, and demands a show of hands from anyone who's ready to approve the Golden Dawn request, while Luna can't shake the fear. Will the council actually buy this, and what if her next step depends on their answer? The guild leader sprints toward the Golden Dawn, and blurts out that every council member is on board. No one objects, so they're about to grant their request. Luna beams with joy and thanks the council, but inside she thinks, it's Orn I should be thanking, this debt can't be paid back. Then she spins to the chief and tells him, I've got one more request. Luna goes up to the leader and demands, can you teleport every adventurer from the 45th floor to the 50th, and drop them on the plane near the entrance of the labyrinth? She tells him Orn, a former teammate, is roaming these floors right now, and she wants to go with him. He agrees instantly, then snaps that the guild council better start firing up their spells. The guildmaster snaps for the whole council to pour out their magical energy, and while everyone follows, Luna quietly turns to Orn and begs for his power, wondering if she can get him back on their old team if they explain the truth and finally apologize. Right then, a spell rips every researcher trapped inside the dungeon and teleports them out. The leader confirms the transfer went through, then orders Golden Dawn to bring down the Black Dragon, only for the man to fire back that now they'll throw their weight behind every adventurer still reeling and confused after the teleportation. Luna pushes the team to find Orn fast, but Derek stalls and demands, do we really need me? Derek says, like we talked about earlier, nobody knows if those rumors about his strength are real, so they figure they don't need him. Luna is seething, and Anari throws her back behind Derek, claiming they only couldn't take down the dragon the first time because it ambushed them, and caught them completely off guard. She says if they'd known he was actually going to show up, he'd already be done with it. So Lena just stares in disbelief, because they're still whining through all of this, and she can't wrap her head around how they can be so blind to the obvious. Luna bluntly admits she still doesn't get a thing, then vows to explain. Right now, she tells them they're the weakest S-rank crew out there, and there's no way they're beating the Black Dragon. Derek and Anari snap at Luna's words, while Oliver's heart sinks. Then Derek erupts in disbelief, roaring that they're the strongest of them all and nobody, absolutely nobody, can make them lose. Luna snaps back that she's sick of repeating that all their crazy success only happened because of Orn. She jabs a finger at Derek and Inari, blasts them with the truth. Without Orn's backing, they're just like regular rank adventurers, and demands they finally get it. Derek screams that they need to remember their place, then whips around and fires a question at Luna. Does she mean she's stronger than him? Luna shoots back with total confidence, saying that if they clash like he warned, she's going to win, no question. And Derek yanks out his sword, telling her not to get cocky or it'll be too late to beg for mercy, but Luna just bursts into laughter. Derek slams into Luna, and in that split second she snaps, thinking it's all so stupid, and then she whirls toward the pixie as Derek, mid-attack, suddenly goes rigid, frozen in place. Derek can't even move, he's completely lost, and Luna insists she's the one who can. Derek can't move, and Luna flat out says this is the price. Then she snaps that they've got to track down Orn first before they figure out what happens next. No objections, she means it. Luna stared at Oliver, craving one single word from him. Then Oliver just walked off in silence, and she finally knew he wasn't going to say a thing. A few minutes later, they spot a plane just a short distance from the dungeon entrance where the transporting adventurers are trapped now, and they hurry toward a swarm of explorers circling something big. Luna pushes closer, and the moment she sees it, everything clicks. Oliver roars that it's a black dragon and charges toward battle, but Luna slams the brakes and forces him to take a closer look. She says this place is packed, then pushes them forward. Go on, come up and see what's happening. Just then, someone clocks them and yells, "Make way, here come the heroes." They fire off questions about what happened and why they got yanked to the surface out of nowhere, staring at the dragon in front of them like, "What are you?" Luna and Oliver inch closer, and when the shock hits, they realize the truth. The dragon has already been killed. Anari couldn't breathe, so the black dragon is dead, for real. Derek barks, "Look over there." And Orn just stands in the spot, leaning on his massive black sword. Luna spots him instantly, then blurts his name like she's known him forever. Luna spots Orn and blurt out, "You're here, are you the one?" And he answers, "Yeah, it's me, and you're right on time." Luna rushes over, convinced that if Orn showed up, then the silver rabbit in the night sky must have already slain the dragon. Then it hits her, out of the whole research crew, only Orn is hurt, and she can't stop wondering how that happened. Orn slides up beside her, leans into her shoulder, and declares that she's got everything from here, while Luna's completely lost, like, "Wait, what just happened?" Orn breaks away, and his 10th group falls in right behind him. Logan asks if they can keep the dragon, and Sophia snaps back that he can't push himself too hard. Orn's injured. Caroline just smiles, because she's finally getting to go home and crash for real. Luna finally understands that the dragon, one even they couldn't take down, can't be beaten alone. Orn storms toward his old team, and locks eyes with an enraged Oliver. Orn strides toward his old team, and locks eyes with an enraged Oliver. Then he just walks right past, stone-cold indifferent as the rest of the crew watches. That same night, Sophia grips a pen and jots down everything from today, because what happened was absolutely wild. She decides she has to write that report, and the second she starts, she realizes it'll be packed with Orn talk, from how he trained them all the way to how he taught her magic. She'll also put in the report how he took down the black dragon all by himself, and how he saved her life again. She can't stop thinking about how Orn shielded them while terror froze their bodies, and how fearless he looked the whole time he was fighting. Sophia says he usually rocks this kind, gentle face, but the moment it turns serious, it still somehow hits as cool, and when Oren hears a voice call out that they're coming home, it's like you can feel just how strong he is. Sophia greets her sister as soon as she spots the exhaustion in Selma's eyes, and you can tell right then that Selma has been holding it down all along. Sophia watches her sister crumple onto the bed, eyes wide at how worn out she looks. She hasn't seen Selma this drained in ages. Then Sophia leans in and asks what happened, and tells her to take a bath before bed. Selma totally shuts her out, plunging her face into her pillow, and Sophia urges her to join, while Selma slips into a bath and seems to enjoy every second. Sophia swears that when you're wiped out, a hot bath will fix you for sure, and Selma jumps in like, "No joke, I'm proof," saying her exhaustion vanished like magic, and Sophia cheers because if Selma feels better, then she's happy too. Sophiami whips around to her sister, begs her to listen, and Selma snaps, "What's wrong?" Then Sophiami leans in and asks if she's got any problems, saying she looks absolutely drained. Summer fires back at Sophia, demanding to know exactly what she was thinking while Orn was fighting the black dragon. Sophia tells us she always believed Orn was insanely strong, and Selma nods, saying the exact same thing. Selma even admits Orn feels too strong, but she can't stop worrying about whether the newcomers will actually accept him. Then Sophia drops the truth. Everyone's already made them feel like family, and Selma's left totally stunned. She leans in and begs Sophia to spill everything she knows about it. Selma bursts in demanding Sophia spill every secret she picked up while watching Orn go toe-to-toe with the black dragon, and Sophia panics at how fierce her sister's reaction is. She begs her to breathe and calm down, and Selma immediately apologizes. Sophia swears she studied the way he fought, yelling that his moves were pure magic. Then she claims he pulled off spells she'd never even seen before because, honestly, aside from that, it was just a normal fight. Selma leans in and asks what he's supposed to do, and Sophia instantly remembers. Orn didn't just bring attacks, he mastered both offensive and defensive formation skills. She tells him she started from the ground up in the beginner classes, mastering the basics of every role. Then Orn went and used every single thing he preached in his training. Selma says it felt like he was fighting for all of them, and Sophia jumps in, asking, "Is that really what it was?" Then admits she learned a ton from seeing his battle. Sophia vowed she'd push herself even harder, becoming a strong, fearless adventurer like Orn. Selma couldn't stop replaying it. Orn tore through that battle with insane strength, like he wasn't just stronger, he was on a whole different level. She's convinced Sophia is nothing like the others, so based on what she knows, she's determined to figure out what she just witnessed. Then Selma breaks into praise, deciding the report has to do one thing right: make sure it properly thanks Orn for saving her. From today's battle, Selma realized something shocking. She and him didn't see the world the same way at all, but she refused to fold. She swore to get stronger so she could stand shoulder to shoulder with him. Selma can't stop asking when that day will finally arrive, because back then she bolted from the estate, and now she has no choice but to live as an adventurer. Still, she feels her dream is way too far out of reach. Sophia suddenly throws her arms around her sister and blurts out that she's been admiring her for ages. Sophia brags that she built everything herself and that countless people depend on her, then drops the real truth. Selma was the one who taught her she doesn't have to blindly follow her parents' wishes, she's forging her own way. Sophia thanks Selma from the bottom of her heart for always taking care of her, then asks her to promise, if anything is going on, tell her right away, because she wants to help. Selma shot a heartfelt thank you at Sophia, then pulled her into a tight hug in return. Sophia blurts that it's time to go, and Selma shoots back that she's heading out soon too. Then Selma asks for one favor, and Sophia demands to know what happened. Selma proposes they sleep together, laughing that it's been forever since they've shared the night, and when Sophia says yes, Selma practically glows with happiness. At the inn the next morning, Horn snaps awake screaming that he's in agony, writhing on his bed like it's the worst morning of his life. Then he grits his teeth and fires off the spell Reduce Pain. Orn lies there, body screaming from yesterday's fight, and despite everything that magic threw at him, he realizes there's no real fallout. So yeah, he's insanely grateful he got out that badly. Wanting to head home solo, he still winced at leaving his guild mates behind, but right then he was totally drained, beyond words. The young man strides up to the window, staring out in disbelief, wondering what chaos erupted after he crushed the dragon and stormed away. Orin decides it'd be rude to show up empty-handed, so he turns back to the guild, then plans to hit the guys from the Silver Rabbit in the night sky later, and he's praying the guild will finally tell him where the black dragon came from and what they did with its remains. Inside the guild hall, the leaders sit across from a squad of heroes, and when the guild leader turns to Orin, a warm relief hits. He's glad Orin showed up. Orn slides into his seat across from the leader, at the huge conference table, panicking that he should have shown up sick later. Leon shoots an apology first for the abruptness, then leans in and begs Orn to explain what went down yesterday, while Orn silently thinks, great, this isn't a conversation, it's basically an interrogation. He stares at his old comrades and suddenly realizes, if they were on an expedition yesterday, then they must have already climbed to the 92nd floor, the one where the dragon was. Orn says he's fine spilling everything, but first, he demands they explain one thing to him, then he boasts he recently crushed a black dragon. The boy insists he has no clue what went down, but all he can offer is what happened in that dragon fight. So the guild leader turns to Luna and demands she retell the whole story again. When Luna finishes speaking, Orn realizes her words were absolute garbage, and rage explodes in him. After the teleportation, Luna says the dragon's body still threw them into confusion, but thanks to the guild's help, they wrestled it under control. Leon shoots Luna a grateful nod for the story, then whips around to Ornon and says the dragon just tore through the passage and ended up in the boss room on the 50th floor. Then he turns serious, tells him Selma from the guild Silver Rabbit in the night sky filled them in, and asks point blank if it's true he took on that dragon by himself. Orn goes still, staring at his old comrades like, "I can't believe you're still so pathetic." Then he scoffs and says he fought alone, and that he'll lay out every single detail of his dragon battle in a dungeon exploration report. Orn blurts out that his final grade is just 2 points, and that fresh combat tactics have been forged from everything he's lived through. Then Derek cuts him off fast, grilling him whether he truly fought alone. Derek brags that because of them the dragon is battered and barely breathing, then snaps at Orn to thank them for dragging his pathetic life back from the brink. Orn shoots him down with a dismissive snap, tells him to shut up and sit still, and insists he's not about to interfere with the report. Derek erupted with rage over Orn's words, yelling that they were heroes, until Orn cut him off and snapped, "So you didn't get what I just said." The boy begs for one more chance to speak, then snaps at Derek to shut up and stop butting in while he delivers his report. Derek roars at Orn, demanding to know what he thinks he's doing, and Orn snaps back that he better not talk to him like that. Then Annery explodes too, yelling at him not to look down on them as she demands, with pure fury, if he even has the slightest clue what it took to battle that black dragon. Orn steps up, asks the chief for permission, and the man nods right away. Then Orn's patience finally snaps and he blurts out that he's, to put it mildly, completely at a loss. He whips his head toward Oliver and tells him he gets how wild this whole mess is, then admits they nearly lost it when the boss finally vanished out of his room. Orn can't believe how they're already going this deep, especially after they just added a new wizard to the team. He snaps that Luna must have fought back against the choice, then demands why they ignored her, like they didn't just walk in here thinking they could handle it since they've been on this floor so many times before. Oliver shoots up from his seat, and Orn grins, saying he nailed it. Oren tells him they're insanely lucky to have survived the 92nd and 93rd floors, and he says he already warned him, right from the start, that with their strength right now, they can't push any farther. Oren screams that they were already trapped back then. One wrong move meant instant doom. Then Oliver snaps with fury, yelling that this is exactly why they kicked him off the team. Oliver confesses to Oren that he believed if they ever found someone who could wield support magic better than him, they'd finally push deeper. He tries to keep talking, but Orn cuts him off, saying he already made his choice, the majority backed it, and that he understands everything. Orn admits that a bunch of wizards outmuscle him, and yeah, he gets why Oliver tossed him. Because Oliver's leading a crew of heroes who have to smash their way through the labyrinth, and for that job, Orn says they only need the very best adventurers. Orn whips around to Oliver and snaps that he's furious because he looks down on support mages, but Oliver shoots back that it's not what he thinks. He replaced him because it had to be done. Orn leans in and asks Oliver if he even has a clue how brutal it is for wizards to clear the dungeon, and what it felt like when they were brand new. Oliver shakes his head, and Orn snaps back that the real issue is he's acting like everyone should be on his level from day one. The young man barks at Oliver that if he doesn't follow his instructions, they're doomed and the whole crew will crumble on the spot, and Orn then snaps that Oliver's team now deserves to stay stuck at BB rank at best. Oliver snaps with fury, demanding Orn explain what support mages are even for, because to him, they just boost the team and hide safely for the rest of the fight. Oliver blurts out, "So what's the point?" and claims support magic is something anyone can learn. Then Orn stares back and asks, dead serious, "Are you for real?" Oliver yells that none of it changes, serious or not, it's still true, and Oren jolts up from his seat without warning. Oren clocks the time, Oliver's at 61 seconds, while Anari crashes in at 134. He goes on to reveal that Derek is 186 seconds old, and Luna is 140 seconds old, and then Orn leans in, asking what on earth that even means. Orn and the others go dead quiet, and Orn can't help but wonder if they've already forgotten. Then he says it's been way too long since he's been clinging to their power. Orn begs for the chance to speak, then lays it out. Support mages juggle 3 buffs per ally on average, and every single spell kicks in at its own exact time. Orn tells Oliver he has to keep a sharp eye on the boost timer, while the support mages scan the whole fight and call out instructions. Then he looks at Oliver and asks, "Can you handle all of that?" Orn blurts out that this is totally something he can learn, and he'll get used to it fast. Orn shoots back that he's already an experienced adventurer, so yeah, it's more than doable. Oren looks them up and down, asks about the new arrival, then insists they started brawling the moment they stepped into the dungeon, calling it a training session that forces real teamwork. The kid admits the boost doesn't last the same for everyone, so you can't even guess the timer. And if it runs out, you don't just lose power, you die, because he says he's been forced to cram his brain full of non-stop information every second, knowing their lives hang on it. Orn whips around to face his old comrade, Oliver. Orn snaps, raging and demanding to know if Oliver thinks this is easy. Yet Oliver just stands there, awkward and totally lost, and never finds the words to answer. Orn declares they only made it back alive because their sorceress pulled the strings. So yeah, they'd better be grateful. The heroes huddled in silence, heads hanging low, and humiliation crushed the air around them. Orn bows and apologizes to the guildmaster for the whole scene, then straight up declares he'll keep going with his report. When Orn wraps up his tale, Leon blurts out that his report was way too short. Orn corners the chief and asks if anything's bothering him, and the guy snaps back that his report is flawless. The leader swears they've cracked the whole story from other researchers' reports, but in Orn's paper, the real details of how they fought are buried so deep you can't even find them. Orn snaps back that the report should spell out what's inside the dungeon, and he's sure there's no need to add tactics or any special spells. The guild leader nods and declares, "We stop right here." The man figures Orn must have skipped breakfast, but then he leans in, because he's got something else to say. Leon leans in and tells Orn, "I want to hear your plans for the future." Orn doesn't shut him down, he just pushes back, asking why Leon's suddenly so interested. He tells the leader that tons of groups are going to beg to bring him back to their home, and because of everything that just happened, he presses for Orn's future plans. Orn fires up his plans for the future, and in the same breath, remembers those researchers from the Silver Rabbits, especially the 10th Squad and Selma. Orn tells him he's got no plans for now and will just keep adventuring, working his way through whatever comes next, and the leader nods like, "Yeah, I understand, Orn." The man shoots a question at Orn. Does he know the great labyrinth in the Sorba Empire has already been conquered? Orn smiles and says he definitely knows, then leans in and demands why you're asking. Orn realizes they've finally landed in the kingdom of Noten, and up north lies the Sorba Empire, dominating the western side of the whole continent. He remembers that massive labyrinth too, the one they crushed about 3 months ago, and how people swore even the monsters stopped crawling out after that. The chapter says the Empire's explorers marched into dungeons in other cities, and that power move lit a fire under the guild. They stepped in to watch every group form, and then fall apart. He tells them he knows Orn's doing fine on his own, but then he leans in and asks them to let him know if Orn still wants to jump into something with them. Orn swallows the demand and nods, saying he understands everything, so the guildmaster declares, "All right, we're finished for today. Thanks Orn for showing up," and Orn answers, "Got it, I'll head out then." Orn darts toward the hall's exit, then whirls around to see the guild leaders slumped in disappointment, and a bunch of heroes glaring back at them, furious and fed up. The young man's gut sinks at the grim mood hanging over them, and he just knows, next they're going to hit him with punishment for that spell, a forced teleport straight into oblivion. Orn smirks to himself like, they should hold on, but the thought hits next, he's better off ditching them and leaving. Selma shoots an apology for showing up out of the blue, then turns to Orn and asks how he's doing. Orn reassures her that everything's okay, but he still grumbles that it would have been better if he came to see her himself, because she probably had a ton going on, and she still had to make the trip to him. Selma waves him off, telling him not to worry and insisting everything really is fine. Orn can't believe it. He didn't think Selma would show up at the inn, right to his face, and he's relieved she hustled back from the guild so fast. The young man asks if she's here for the reward, and Selma nods. Yeah, but first she has one more thing to say. She pushes herself up from the table and turns straight to Orn. Selma dips her head and thanks him for yesterday, then insists that it's all because of him that they complete the search and don't miss a single thing. Orn turns red with embarrassment and begs her to lift her head, but he snaps back that someone as powerful as her shouldn't bow to him, and Selma, still keeping her head down, says she gets the problem, but it had to be done. The girl says Orn saved countless newcomers from her clan, and she's genuinely thankful, so she shrugs off rank and makes sure her gratitude is heard loud and clear. Orn swears Selma is the real deal, thanks her for it, and admits that if she says he's honest too, he's beyond relieved. Selma just smiles, like she's been waiting to hear it. Selma takes a sip of tea and leans in, pushing the conversation into action. She asks Orn if he's got time right now, and he answers, "Yeah, right now." Orn pushes the idea of heading to the guild headquarters, and Selma fires back, "He's totally right." Then she drops the bomb that their leader wants to meet him too, so they slam down their drinks and set off for the guild. At the Silver Rabbit in the Night Sky Guild's headquarters, their leader steps forward and tells everyone how much he wanted to thank them for saving his people. Vince Bryant, the guildmaster of the Silver Rabbit up in the night sky, dips his head to Orn and fires off a heartfelt thank you. Orn tells him he doesn't need gratitude, because anyone would step up if they were in his shoes. Then the young man can't help thinking about how many times people have bowed their heads to him just today. Summer figures anyone would have handled it the same way, and the leader fires back that he could have just bolted and nobody would have judged him. Yet he didn't, and he still came out on top. He tells Orn to stand tall and walk with pride. Then Vince Bryant shoves a package into his hands and calls it a reward. Orn takes it, smiles, and thanks the chief. He cracks open the package, stares at what's inside, and goes wide-eyed, because it's packed with platinum coins. The kid thinks he's getting 10 gold coins and 1 platinum coin, so he hands the man 10 platinum coins, and that single move secretly turns into the value of 100 gold coins. Orn leans in and tells the chief, there are 10 platinum coins in there. The chief smirks and says he already pulled his men out of a black dragon, so whatever you're trying to say, it's still even less than that. Vince Breyer begs him not to turn down the reward, and Orna finally nods, telling him he'll grab it without hesitation. Orin snatches the bag of coins and declares it's time for him to vanish. Then the leader grabs him by the moment and tells him he still has one more thing to talk about. The leader says he wants to talk about it right now, or at least asks what it is he's really trying to bring up. Vince Brayett nudges his glasses up and demands, straight out, that everyone lets him talk plainly. He shoots Orn an invite to join their guild. Orn realizes this isn't some casual message. It's a direct summons from the guildmaster, and the stakes are real. The man straight up says he wants Orn in the guild as a researcher, then promises to slot him into the first squad. He tells him the first squad is Selma's crew, the guild's deadliest, and begs him to charge at the front as the vanguard, and Orn can't believe a word of it as the leader's demand hits him hard. Orn clocks the leader's order to push him into the vanguard, wondering if they really won it, or if they're just judging him by how he fought that dragon. Vince Brayart tells Orn, if you want, I'll hand you a spot among the leaders. Orn's jaw drops as the proposal hits him like a punch. Orn blurts out in total shock that he can't possibly believe they'd hand the reins to a kid like him. Young, untested, and way out of his depth. Selma tells him not to panic. Each leader gets picked for their matching department, and if you want to run research, you just need real experience navigating the labyrinth and the skills to match. She points out that right here, he's earned it, so now he's proven himself worthy to lead. The guild leader backs up Selma's claim by saying he's educated, hardworking, and rock solid, so in his eyes he could even run the clan. Orn, though, freezes as the praise stacks up, and that flattery makes him feel painfully awkward. Selma tells him, right now I'm the only one leading the research department, so if you join in and help me, I'll be over the moon. Oren's convinced that if they toss him straight into the Vanguard's first squad and slap the leader role on him right away, he'll end up taking Albert's place, because Albert died last year. He realizes, honestly, that his clan's troubles shouldn't touch him, yet they see him as a swordsman and immediately shove him into the Vanguard. Orn's face lights up with a grin because the truth is, he's flat out thrilled by it and can't imagine saying otherwise. But when it hits him that this means he'll have comrades again, fury sparks in his chest. Orn goes dead quiet as he weighs the chief's offer, and the man tells him straight up he can't promise an answer just yet. Vince Bryan blurts out an apology if Orn felt he was being rushed, then tells the kid to slow down, think it through, and give his real final answer. Orn nods and admits he needs a little time to think, then he thanks him. The shop owner Grandpa bursts into laughter, and when Oren tells him, dead serious, don't laugh, Grandpa quickly throws up an apology like he got caught. Orn kept replaying the guild's offer in his head. Then, without even noticing how, he found himself standing in his grandfather's shop. Grandpa leans in and tells Oren he always felt like he grew up too fast, and then he admits he's honestly relieved to see Oren can finally think in a way that fits his age. Orn shoots Grandpa a worried question. Does he think he's acting too immature now? Then he admits he's genuinely scared, and Grandpa just nods, saying he understands. Grandfather admits he's terrified it'll happen again. Someone uses him and then throws him away, and he straight up asks Orn if that old trauma is still haunting him. Orn confirms it. Orn remembers getting kicked out of the Heroes. He knows it was his own fault for being useless, but that sting still hits hard, because he gave it everything. Orn says that's exactly why he decided to stay alone from now on, and then he blurts, what if the same disaster hits this clan too? He admits those 3 days with them were pure joy, like his heart couldn't stop smiling. Grandfather leans in and tells Oren to listen, because in his eyes, their whole society runs on give and take, on relationships that keep everyone standing. Nobody can truly live alone, each of us needs someone, and sometimes you end up helping others without even noticing. Grandpa tells Owen to look at them, and the man snaps that Owen is using him just to get what he wants. Then he's cashing in on Owen's dreams. He admits maybe that wording feels too brutal, and he insists it's smarter to say, take what we need. Grandfather swears Owen believes that if he steps into the clan, only he alone can bring something worth having, so the man presses him hard, asking, are you sure? And thinking, does this clan really have nothing to give me? Orn finally gets it. If he joins the clan, he won't have to stand alone. They'll back him up, move as one, and smash their way through the labyrinth together, and she realizes he'll have exactly the support he needs. Oren's grandfather tells him, they won't just throw you out, no matter how hard you try to push them away, and Oren's heart gets wrecked in the best way. The man spots Oren's eyes snap to something important, and the young man nods, speaks it straight, and then thanks his grandfather. He turns to Oren and tells him straight up, whatever choice he ends up making, he refuses to let Oren look back and regret it. The man tells him, if you're going to join the clan, then go for it. Try now, or spend the rest of your life regretting the chance you let slip. And he pushes him to dare. Grandfather sighs and admits he regrets a ton of choices, wishing he'd done things differently, while Oren just sits there, stuck on every word. Oren thanks him for the advice, swears that next time he's definitely buying something, and his grandfather just smirks, saying he'll wait. Oren tramps down the street and suddenly gets it. His grandpa has always had his back, but he still can't bring himself to make a choice. Oren swallows his fear and admits to himself that this could haunt him later. Then his insecurity spirals, and he can't stop imagining what happens if he makes the wrong choice. He strides forward and cranes his neck at the full moon, and then, out of nowhere, someone shouts his name. Standing there right in front of him is Sophia, out of nowhere. Oren's jaw drops and he blurts out why she's out alone this late, asking if something's wrong. She shoots back that she warned her sister, and they're not far from the guild headquarters. Sophia fires a question at Oren. Why is he here now? He sighs and says he just needed a moment to think, so he went hunting for the right spot. He turns to Sophia and grills her about why she's here right now. She smiles right back and spills that this is her favorite place. She tells him, no matter what life throws at me, I'll still come back and stare up at the sky. Oren watches Sophia spin around, throw an apology at him, and admit she'd been dying to tell him something the moment they met. The girl bows, thanking him for saving her and the others yesterday, and Warren just shrugs, saying anyone would have done the same, and then admits he can't believe it. This is the third time today. Sophia says she understands why he thinks that, but one thing won't change. He saved them, and not just yesterday. She points out he even did it when the orcs attacked her, and now she's saying there's no way just gratitude can cover everything he's done for her. She tells him, I don't know if I'm as strong as you, then asks him to come to her the moment he needs anything, and promises she'll give it everything she's got. Oren grins at her and tells Sophia that when the moment finally hits, he can count on her, and Sophia's face lights up at his words. Sophia and Oren are scrubbing the sky clean when Oren asks if she likes the moon. Sophia says, give me a second, then blurts that she likes it way more than she doesn't, and admits she used to stare at the moon all the time when she was little. She tells him that even when the world turns pitch black, the moon still burns bright and never lets darkness win. So when she stared up at it, a surge of power crashed through her. Sophia leans in and fires off a question. Does Oren know what that silver rabbit in the night sky is supposed to mean? Oren shoots back that he understands the moon drifting across the heavens, but he's got zero clue about the rabbit's meaning. Sophia beams and tells everyone the moon isn't just there. It's a beacon lighting up the night. She says their guild wants to be a blazing beacon for every explorer out there. That's the whole meaning behind their guild. Oren watches Sophia and a small smile tugs at the corner of his mouth. Oren can't shake the feeling he's heard the exact same story about that lighthouse ages ago. Sophia admits it might sound like hype, but the second she joined the guild, everything in her world flipped upside down, and even though she can't see what's coming, she's certain her guild will pull off something legendary no matter what fights them. Oren shoots back that it's not an exaggeration at all. He says the world you grow up in shapes what you believe, and with the guild packed full of people, every single person brings their own opinions and values, colliding with ideas from a whole swarm of different minds, and her ideas get pulled into that storm too. The young man breaks it down and, boom, she swears the entire world has shifted. Sophia gapes because she can't even find the words, yet he lays out every single feeling in her heart perfectly. She beams and tells him that meeting the guys flipped her whole world upside down, and Oren smiles while he watches her glow. The young man leans in and asks Sophia what the guild means to her, and Sophia lights up as she says it's the place that opened countless paths for her, and the one place where she can finally smile. She beams and declares the guild is her safe haven, the one place she can always come back to. Oren's stunned by what Sophia says about a place you can come back to, and when Sophia asks if that'll finally satisfy him, Oren nods, breathless, then thanks her for the answer. Oren tells Sophia he's thrilled they crossed paths today, and she grins back like, yeah, that's great, but why did you even ask me that? Oren tells her he might end up joining their guild, then shoots back. Does she really not know? The girl's eyes widened in pure shock at his words. Sophia tries to speak up, but Oren cuts her off, right away, offering to escort her to the headquarters since it's already late, and he even adds that he's got business there too. Sophia grins and nods without hesitation, and the two of them race to headquarters together. Vince Briot is chilling in his office when Oren storms up and tells him, I'm ready to give you the answer. He proudly announces he's agreed to join the guild, and Oren starts calling him Mr. Vence, only to snap and decide Commander fits way better. Orn bows low, tells them he's counting on their support, and begs them to accept him. Then he blurts out his dream. He wants to join the guild, Silver Rabbit in the Night Sky ***. The guild's boss leans in and tells him, "You're in." Orn admits that no matter what path he picks, regret might still hit him later, so he's chasing one thing above all, feeling right in this moment. He steels himself and picks the future. No matter what's coming, he's in. The boss grins and says he's glad to work with him, and Orn snaps back, "Same here," like it's a promise. Right behind Orn, someone bursts out cheering that he's finally joined the guild, and Selma swoops in like, "I brought your uniform, try it on fast." Orn squirmed in the uniform, and Soma immediately asked what was wrong, thinking he hated the outfit, only for Orn to snap back that it wasn't the uniform at all, just that the size was totally wrong. Selma shrugs it off like it's nothing but size, and the girl snaps her fingers. Just like that, Orn's uniform fits him perfectly. Orn snaps back baffled, how did this happen? And the smug leader smirks that he probably never knew, because it's their guild's secret technology. Vince Briot insists he's still got tons to figure out about them, and Selma fires back that she's basically dumping useless info into the mix. Orn beams at them, thanking everyone, and says with a wide, happy grin that he's thrilled to work with them. 2 days after Orn's guild stop, the guildmaster pulls the eye-patched young man aside, calls him Grandmaster, and demands forgiveness for the abrupt visit. The master shrugs it off as nothing serious and fires a question at Leon. Is it important? And Leon's like, it happened 3 days ago. He's telling everyone that a researcher slipped into their ranks, and all by himself, wiped out the boss of the deep floor. The master is stunned by what he just said. He smirks and goes, who would have guessed this would even happen? Then he calls it out, challenging the boss solo is pure bold stupidity. Leon says the 92nd floor's boss, the Black Dragon, was roaming outside the boss zone, like it couldn't ignore something that went way off the rails. The master demands, what did you connect here? Then promises, once we start the analysis, it'll all click into place. The master claims that Oliver from the Hero Squad, who was right there, defeated him, but Leon snaps back that it didn't happen that way, and that Oliver couldn't have pulled it off alone. The master's mind races, who on earth could it be? He claims Angela was behind it, and Leon fires back, saying, so you're saying it is, do you actually know him? The master can't believe what he's seeing. He thinks it's some kind of prank, because he has no clue how the hell this happened. He can't stop wondering, just how tough is Orn that he can wipe out a dungeon boss this brutal all on his own. The master leans in and asks, was it Orn? And the man answers without hesitation, yeah, our intel says it was. The boy asks if he's joined a guild, and Leon shuts it down, saying it doesn't look that way, and reminding him he wasn't even in a guild when he crushed the Black Dragon. The master stared at Orn like, you didn't change at all, but then couldn't stop wondering, where did that guy find the strength to take down the boss all by himself? He's completely hooked by what he just heard, so he leans in, nods, and thanks Leon for the info. He tells Leon to report everything about him from here on out, and the man nods, saying his report is done and it's time for him to go. Locked in his office, the master alone blasts the news out loud. This twist is huge, and you can bet he's convinced that if things keep going like this, Orn is going to become his savior. He swears that when the day finally hits, they'll bury everything between them in the past, and then he slams his feet on the table and cackles like a villain. He blurts out, Orn, keep dancing, because with his thanks, he knows his goals are finally within reach. Meanwhile, deep in the Great Forest at the 95th floor of the Great Eastern Labyrinth, those explorers finally ended their fight, and one of them blurted, man, we had to sweat. Agnes Ottila, the vanguard, says the 5 strongest groups teamed up way sooner than anyone expected, and Gibbet Rachel, the defender, chimes in that there's just no payoff. Zuriel Horton, one of the group's supporters, is relieved that nothing was damaged at all, and now she can't stop asking, so what are we doing next? The team whips back to Cheyenne, and she snaps back, I don't think those powerful researchers are ready to leave the city anytime soon, so we can lay low for a bit. The crew whispers that they should lay low for now, like they're totally on vacation, and they start guessing when the next order will hit, while the guy crouched behind that tree is quietly listening to every word. The boy bursts out of hiding and screams for them to stop, and then Zoriel snaps to his comrades, there are survivors out there. The man sobs and screams that they wiped out every last one of his comrades, with zero pity to spare. Cheyenne makes it crystal clear, he's pulling the same stunt on monsters too, and then she rips the truth right out of him. His comrades didn't die for any noble reason, they were simply too weak. She snaps that anyone who's traveling with his comrades should stop wandering into the Great Labyrinth, and the man hushes her, then swears he'll wipe them all out. He chugs the liquid, holds it to his nose, gags a little, and instantly feels that awful bad omen creeping in. After he gulps the liquid, he swells into a giant monster, then snarls that his rage and fury will haunt them for a long, long time. The moment the team spots it, they realize his whole body is wrapped in a magical barrier, like something engineered to keep him trapped. They suspect it's some proprietary drug, but Shin snaps back that it's too perfectly crafted to be random, which means the cult had their hands in it, and Zeril grimly warns, it's only getting worse. The monster lets out a blood-curdling howl and slams into the researchers, and Xian snaps, we're out of time, stop wasting it. She blurts out an apology, yanks out her weapon, and tells them she's only giving a quick talk to anyone who still refuses to listen. She slams magic onto him, and ice claws over his body. He has no idea what's happening as the monster panics, because in seconds he freezes solid, turning into a damn block of ice. Cheyenne says she's done for now, and her partner jumps in with gratitude, calling it a perfect kill. Then Jibed leans in, amazed that her magic hits so hard and fires off so fast, because his magical barrier is completely gone, along with the power boost he had. Agnes says they're super lucky Xian is with them, and Zai shoots back that they didn't need to hear it since they could have handled everything on their own. Then Xian steps in and declares they can finally talk things out calmly. She whirls toward the trees and declares he can come out now, then shoots. Are you still there? The hiding man just gapes. She's so shockingly observant, it blows his mind. He bursts out of his hiding spot, and Agnes shoots back that they're masters of the shadows. Then she whips around to the messenger, saying she heard him move, and the messenger answers, I came straight from headquarters. Right as the messenger starts talking, he blurts out the news. An explorer has shown up and wiped out the black dragon in the south all by himself. They call him the Dragon Slayer, and the moment the team spots him, they're told to strike on sight, no questions asked, because they're convinced he's dangerous. Xian can't stop thinking about that terrifying power in the south, and she interrogates the messenger, anything else? The messenger answers that HQ says there's a serious chance he's tied to the cult, somehow. Xian figures there's not much to go on, and the messenger pushes back. He wants his team sent in to investigate at once, and if Xian's tied to that cult, they need to erase him immediately. Shin nods and says she gets it, then thanks him for the message. But the messenger asks to leave and vanishes on the spot. G-Bed grumbles that they popped in out of thin air, then vanished just as fast, then smugly dubs it magic because it's just way too convenient. Zuriel bursts in and declares, this is our next mission. Cheyenne tells them, we'll bounce the second we're ready. She warns that the cult's grip in the south is tightening, so they can't afford a single wrong step. And since she can't risk showing her face there, she throws the job of digging up intel straight onto them. Xion shrugs and says, same as always, this labyrinth is our home base, now brace yourselves because we're going deeper. Agnes declares they've got to strategize this time, and G-Bed snaps back that without a guild map they can't even step into the labyrinth. Then he turns to them and demands, so what do we do? Zuriel leans in and demands to know just how powerful the explorer is who took down the black dragon by himself. Then Xion smirks and says, you'll only find out when we clash with him. Shin is convinced he's clearly not some easy pushover, because he actually took down the black dragon by himself. Cheyenne's eyes widen as a wild thought hits him. Maybe he's just as strong as she is, and then he remembers a legend like that from way down south. She admits to herself, plain and honest, she wants nothing to do with this place, and there's no way she can handle it alone. She knows if it's this bad in the south, it could collapse like the west did, so she's convinced she has to stop it, and fast. On the day he died, she stepped into his will and swore she'd finish every last thing he started. She drifts back to her childhood and clings to the one person she loves most, swearing her feelings won't ever fade, no matter what life throws at her. She still can't wrap her head around it, that she'll never forget the day the letter arrived with those words, and when she replays the past in her mind, regret hits her like a wave. She shoots out a heartbreaking apology. She's got to admit they can't fight together. But he refuses to quit. He digs in and keeps fighting, even if he has to face the whole battle alone. Sheen vows she'll smash anyone who gets in her way, and make sure Ornn's killers pay. For now, she's made up her mind. She's hunting down a dragon slayer. If he refuses to have anything to do with that cult, then she labels him a threat, and she will cut him down. At the Silver Rabbit's night sky headquarters, Ornn beams and tells them thanks for showing him the dorms this morning, saying his guild is massive and basically has everything they need to live in comfort. Selma and Sophia beam and say they're thrilled he loved everything, and tease that they've got even more in store that they haven't shown him yet. Then they add, he just got here, he's probably wiped out, so they'll go all out later and let him rest for now. Ornn checks out the girls and tells them the food here is ridiculously delicious, and Selma lights up, saying she's so happy he enjoyed it, while Sophia steps in to brag that the menu is carefully made. Everything you need for a balanced, healthy diet. Ornn's eyes go wide and he blurts out, in that other guild, they all chow down on the same thing non-stop. Ornn blurts out that this place is packed and loud, and he feels totally out of sync, until the young guy shoots back that people are still staring at him. Selma bursts into laughter and snaps back that honestly, it doesn't shock her at all. He's the most famous guy around now. Orn clocks it, things are still a bit better than the brutal looks he got when he got kicked out of the heroes group. He figures the whole Black Dragon mess will blow over fast. Then the young man flashes on, a warm wave like it's been forever since they last ran into each other. He stares at him and suddenly remembers, he's first squad, isn't he? Orn answers, we haven't run into each other since last month. He nods and says, I was still one of the heroes back then admits it never crossed his mind that he'd end up joining them. He tells Owen, see you at the meeting, and Owen nods right back, ready to meet him there. That young guy is convinced. He knows every member of the first squad he joined, but his nerves are still screaming because he's only talked to a handful of them. Owen tells himself to breathe steady and just hang on, and then the guy from his squad practically bursts with excitement. He's heard Owen is their new star now, and he's got the confidence to swear he's seriously cool. Owen is stunned, everyone already knows, and he blurts, what's going on? The guy fires back, asking how he can even say that, since Orn single-handedly wiped out the Black Dragon and was instantly invited to join them. Ornu lights up at the praise, then smirks and insists, yeah, I'm with your guild too. In the meeting room of the Silver Rabbit in the Night Sky Guild, Vince Breyer, everyone's leader, slams out the announcement. All of you are finally here. He pushes for them to start meeting on a regular schedule. The department heads crowd around the conference table, slinging sharp jabs at Selma, and Orn's eyes lock in. This couldn't be more perfect. The moment he joined the guild, he remembers, they hauled in every executive for a meeting, and it's all happening again right on cue. The guildmaster says he wants to start by introducing their newest member. Then Orn shoots up from his seat, and the guildmaster declares, Orn Dula joined us yesterday. Owen gives a small bow as Vince Bryant drops the bombshell. He used to be one of the heroes, but once he quit the group, he ended up joining their expedition anyway. During the expedition, the leader bragged that a black dragon suddenly burst in, and he fought it down, saving tons of their comrades' lives. The man swears they can count on Orn's strength, and he's sure his smarts will be a huge win for their guild. The leader says he should actually retract it, because every hero in that group was controlled by him all along, and Orn just can't help wondering if Vince is taking it way too far. The leader straight up says, that's why I picked you for this job. Then he points at Owen and declares that Owen has already proven he'll fight for his comrades, so now he's got to step into Albert's role. Vince Bryant insists it'll take a 2/3 majority to officially crown him, and he says today will decide it for good. Owen clocks the sharp, appraising stares raining down on him, brushes it off as totally understandable, and figures the leader will call out the people in the back to raise their hands, until someone snaps, wait. The guy with the glasses fires back, I've got a couple questions to ask first, then I'll vote. He whips around to Orn, grins, and warmly welcomes him into the guild. He brags that since even the head vouched for him, everyone's going to expect big things from him, great achievements, no less. The man leans in and asks Orn, straight up, if he wants to join their guild himself. He tells Orn, if you step into the leader's seat, every life in your group will hang on the choices you make. And then he leans in, demanding, do you understand? Orn tells himself he's got it all figured out, until he realizes their views clash hard, because what he wants to hear from them is simple. They'll fight and die for their guild. But the moment he tries, he realizes he can't say it. He remembers being a kid and swearing that day, I'll always speak like I truly mean it, and he's never forgotten it. Orn flat out says he's not about to throw his whole self into their guild, and the leaders go silent, whispering like, yep, that's exactly what we heard. The man leans in and asks Orn, if you're not ready to lift a finger for our guild, then why are you even here? Orn fires back, saying, just like before, that he's not about to throw himself fully into their guild. He admits that ever since he joined, determination has burned in his bones. Under the night sky, as the silver rabbit of the guild, he swore to throw everything he had into protecting his comrades. Orin says it hits different when you've got nothing left to lose. No matter how brutal the situation gets, you don't break, you level up, so you never lose what matters to you again. He says these are the exact words of the oath he swore the moment he became an explorer. The man asks if those words mean something precious he'll guard with his life, and he makes it clear he isn't talking about the guild, he's talking about his squad comrades. Then he leans in and asks Orn if he got it right, and the young man taps his chest and vows, yes, I understand. Orin swears that no matter how brutal it gets, he'll protect every member of his squad, and that promise is his answer to them. The man and Selma light up at Orn's answer, and the leader fires back, time for a vote. Then he demands a show of hands from everyone who's on board. Orn remembers the meeting, every single person there threw up their hand, so he seized the role of leader, for the silver rabbit lights up in the night sky. Orn keeps getting hit with the next wave of rumors, research trends, industry moves where the money's flowing, how magical gear processing is going, and a whole storm of other updates. He realized, with a rush of relief, that showing up was the best decision, because this meeting finally helped him grasp what was going on inside the guild. Vince Briot stands up in front of all the executives and declares, "That's it, meeting, over for today," like the final bell just rang. Orn smiles and admits this meeting was worth it, while Selma grabs the moment and pushes, "Let's hit the first squad right now." She beams and shouts that everyone's been pacing for him, itching to go, and the whole crew is already gearing up to leave. Suddenly, the girl slams the brakes, stops them cold, and calls her by the name Selmachka. Orn and Selma get whiplashed by how this all plays out. Estella from the research management department grabs Selma's attention and tells her to take Orn aside for a minute, saying she just needs to have a word with the new leader. Orn just freezes in confusion, unsure if she even wants to talk to him. Then Selma chimes in, and Estella turns and thanks her. She darts over to Orn and blurts out an apology for cutting into her work, then adds, since he's the new leader, he probably already knows how to train everyone. Orn, all jittery, shoots back that sure, within reason, he can handle it. The girl lights up, cheering that this is Don's versatile genius. Then Orn freezes, wondering if she's talking about him. And here's the twist, Dawn isn't just a name, it's Golden Dawn, the hero group they call Hero Group straight up, because they managed to reach the deepest floor of the Southern Labyrinth. Orn can't help but wonder why she's singling him out, guessing she wants him to teach someone. But the girl lights up and blurts that she wanted him to teach a whole group of fresh newcomers. The young man hesitates, like, is she for real? Then it hits him. This is his responsibility, no way around it. Selma tells him she asked too, and he's stunned, because Selma's right there with her. He straight up asks Selma whether the first squad's mission is going to hit any trouble, and she shakes her head fast. Nope, nothing's going to happen, telling him to drop his worries. Selma tells him that once he's out of the hero squad, he'll finally get tons of free time, because the first squad doesn't drop into the Great Labyrinth every single day. She adds one more rule. In their guild, you're not allowed to keep chasing the labyrinth for over 4 straight days. Orn admits it's smart, because roaming a labyrinth for days is reckless, and fatigue hits fast, so he decides to use the time to teach newcomers. He snaps back that they haven't sat down yet, so he can give it a shot, and Estella beams, thanking him with all her heart. She gushes that these kids are insanely talented, and begs the world to believe in what they can become. And she's over the moon that it was Orn who stepped up to train them. Orn starts piecing together who Estella's talking about, but she doesn't get a single word out. Estella cuts in with a quick goodbye, says they'll talk later, and promises she'll hand him everything he needs before the day ends. She shrieks that she has to go, then bolts away like a storm cloud, and Born just stares, convinced she's a hurricane, while she sprints off to handle her business. Selma snaps that it's time to go, and sure enough, everyone's already lined up, waiting right there for him. Orn nods along, then asks, why does everyone already know? And the girl grins, saying she'll explain later. Orn and Selma stride through the library, and Orn can't help but blurt how insanely impressive it is, because this place isn't just packed with labyrinth books, it's stuffed with all kinds of useful stuff too. Selma tells them this library holds every scrap of knowledge their guild has ever gathered, and any guild member can walk in and use it. Orn stares at the pile of books and blurts out that even for a guild this big, this is insane, an absolute treasure of a collection. Selma then calls out that they're almost at the first squad's room, so he can read everything later. Selma and Orn fling the door open, and the squad bursts out, yelling that they've finally made it, because they've been waiting on them this whole time. 2 young girls and a boy perch at the table, and announce they're the first Silver Rabbit squad to rise in the night sky. Then they turn to Selma and ask if she came with him too. Selma and Oran slide into their seats at the table, and she flashes a bright smile, telling him cheerfully to stop freaking out. The long-haired girl with jet black hair nods hard at Selma's words, and says this isn't their first run-in, and the fair-haired girl chimes in that they actually met on a raid last month. The guy tells Selma they should introduce themselves, and she snaps back that's exactly why they all showed up today. Orn remembers it all. Last month, on the day he battled the Black Dragon, they met during a joint raid with 3 S-ranked groups, and he admits that even then, something in him screamed just how close they truly were. One of the group members blurts out, let's start with the oldest, me. With black hair, she leans in and declares, I'm Rain Hagwell, 24 years old, and yes, I'm a mage. Orn's jaw drops because she realizes the woman is way older than she expected. Orn honestly thought she was no more than 14. He keeps thinking that even her robe doesn't fit right, but he swallows the thought and lets it die. Then the Rain girl extends her hand, shakes his, and says she's thrilled to finally meet him. Orn tells her it's mutual. He's thrilled to meet her too, and as he shakes her hand, he can't help noticing how tiny they are. Then he stops and thinks, from a first look, you'd never guess she's one of the best magicians. He remembers the raid. She threw out high-level magic like it was nothing, and he finally clicks. This blonde isn't about dumping power, she's all about quality, and now she's screaming, I'm next. She steps forward and introduces herself, Lucretia Otis, and claims her specialty is healing. She asks everyone to call her just Luca Ray, and she guesses she and Orn are close in age, then says she'll be happy as long as they click. Orn tells her the feeling's mutual, then thinks, she's still that bright, cheerful ray of light from the first squad, always. He realizes she wasn't just some mage. She was a battle mage in the rage, blasting advanced spells during the raid. Then it hits him. He never once guessed her true specialty was healing. Lucretia calls Will a total chatterbox, and the second the words hit, rage floods his face. He snaps at her and shouts, don't introduce me like that. He introduces himself as Wilkes Sevenly, 20 years old and built to defend. He blurts out that he's been hitting the Vanguard again and again lately, then asks, call me Will, and flashes a grin. It's a pleasure to meet you. Orn shoots back that he's just as happy to meet him too, and the young man starts replaying it all. How he ran into Will in the cafeteria before, and immediately clocked him as the caring, dependable type. He finally clicks, right here in this detachment. He's fallen into the same role as the dead Albert. And now he's stepping in as the attacker. He's going all in, no holding back. Will says Selma is finally calling herself sister now, and Orn's jaw drops. Then Selma snaps back that it's only him who gets to call her that. Selma shrugs and says it might not be needed, then still steps up and introduces herself anyway. She flashes her name and declares she's a sorcerer and the boss of this crew. Selma leans in, says she usually calls the shots during the raid, and swears they'll crush it together. Orn can't stop raving. Selma is the continent's top sorcerer, an absolute wizard with razor-fast magic activation and crushing power, and he swears she's also one of the best explorers in the labyrinth, plus among the strongest he's ever seen. He scans the first squad, and right then he realizes those four are his new comrades. Selma snaps at Orn, reminding him it's his turn now. Then the boy steps in, introduces himself, says he's 18, and declares his job is to charge at the front line. He bows, greets them, and promises he'll do his best not to let them down. Then Orn lights up and says he's thrilled to team up, while Luca blurts that they're the same age as him. Selma tells Orn to chill, telling him they're all friends here, so there's nothing to stress about. Luca admits she's never once spoken politely to them, and she insists there's no issue. Then Will fires back that if she wants to talk big, she should respect the people who are older than her. The girl asks if he's not happy with something, and Selma whirls to Orn, telling him he doesn't need to overdo manners. Why struggle when without is smoother and easier to strike up a conversation. Will remembers he had a question and whips around to Orn. Then the boy blurts, what was it? Will demands to know how he wiped out the black dragon all by himself, and Orn immediately decides his whole crew has to hear what he's capable of. He tells them the real reason he crushed the fight, because his victory is powered by two rare, one-of-a-kind spells. He says the first spell is asterisk instant ability, boost asterisk asterisk, and then he grins as he reveals the truth. One cast lets you crank up the power of effects, gear, magic, and abilities by a whopping asterisk asterisk 100 times on the spot. Will's jaw drops at the sudden surge, and he blurts, again, but Orn cuts in, insisting it's only going to last a moment. Rain leans in and asks Selma if she can pull that off, and Selma just stares back like, I don't even know how you'd get an effect like that. Oren hears about the second spell, one he hasn't named yet, but it's brutal in a good way. It boosts your abilities far past normal support magic, and the power ramps up little by little. Orn starts to wonder if it's not real magic at all, but a deadly technique. Then Luca leans in and demands how much it boosts the power, and Orn admits that when she faced the dragon, it supercharged the effect by 32 times. The girls gasp in disbelief, screaming that this is totally unfair, because Warren knows it is, and he can't ignore the fact that it's a cheating ability. Luca blurts out, so what happens? Because that power is terrifyingly strong, and somehow it comes with zero drawbacks. Orn shoots back that yes, there are, and here's the kicker, exactly two downsides. He tells them that this power only works on him, and that's exactly why the hero group pushed him to stick with plain support magic. Orn swore his magic was way stronger than anyone else's, but when it failed to help them, they tossed him aside and decided they didn't need him anymore. He says that second, this spell guzzles a massive amount of mana, so yeah, it's insanely powerful, but even that strength has a hard limit. He says the brawl with the black dragon kept dragging on, and he could feel the spell's crushing strain digging into him. Will points out, even with everything going wrong, he still won, and the boy tells Orn that the instant ability boost gave him a massive edge, then insists Selma didn't praise him for nothing. Selma says yeah, she'd heard about his killer magic, but she never thought he could crank a spell up 100 times over. She turns to Orn and calls him an incredible magician, and the second those words land, the kid's cheeks explode into a blush. Orn tells you straight up, the instant ability boost isn't permanent, so you can't crank yourself up 100 times over every single time. He fires the question to the whole team, "Got anything you want to ask?" and promises he'll answer every single one. Rain blurts out that she's got a question. Can Orn take on other roles? Orn grins and says he can handle everything, but only if it's ranked A or B. Rain says she just knows he'd be a beast as an attacker in the front line, and she's sure he's way more advanced there. But she can't shake it. Why's the Vanguard acting like he's unstoppable when he's got those brutal spells in his back pocket? Orna fires back that it's all because he can't tap into the advanced, higher-tier magic, and even when he pushes himself to the limit, Ornan can't break past that wall, not even once. Selma snaps that she doesn't buy it, then demands he lean on his one-of-a-kind magic, just not the advanced stuff. Orn shoots back that it's true, he's never once pulled it off, and he has no idea why. Orn snaps in frustration, because all he's got is his rare magic, and he's terrified that any other kind won't help him a bit. Rain leans in and asks what's wrong, swearing he'll conquer it sooner or later, then tells him plain and simple. He just needs a training buddy, and she's always ready to help. Orn soaks up his comrades, words like fuel, thanks her with a grin, and says he's ready to learn everything. Luca blurts out that she's finally got a question, asks Orn if he has any skills, and Orn shoots back that yes, he does. He flexes his skill and declares it's magic convergence, because he can crush magic down into a single pinpoint. Then the girl erupts in a scream like, "That's so cool." Orn grins and says it's amazing. He can conjure platforms in midair with it, and when it bursts and spreads fast, it turns into a full-on explosion, blasting the enemy right in the fight. Orn grins and says he can even use it for other kinds of magic, and Will immediately fires back that it's insanely versatile. Will fires off the news. The first squad now has not one, not two, but 3 people with special abilities. Then Orn leans in and asks, "So what about you, Will? Do you've got one too?" The kid rubs the back of his neck, awkward as hell, and blurts out that he's got none, while Selma and Lucra, they've got plenty. Luca swears she'll spill everything right now, and she says her power's called magic power tracking. She claims she can spot magic on sight, knows exactly where it was used, and then where the magician tossed it next. Orn realizes she's got a seriously useful power, and though Lucretia thanks him, she insists Selma's ability is even more jaw-dropping. She presses Selma for the truth, and when Selma's left totally baffled, she blurts out that she doesn't need anyone praising her. Selma bursts out that her power is called *** emotional resonance ***. It lets her see the invisible lines linking people who trust each other, and through those links, they can even talk to one another using nothing but the power of thought. Oren's jaw drops at her skill, and it hits him. Back when he was with the heroes, this was exactly what he used to dream about. Orn leans in and asks if that means every thought of theirs is getting sent out, and Selma quickly tells him not to stress about it. Selma blurts out that explaining it is a nightmare, but the truth is simple. Her power only sends the thoughts she wants to share, and it only reaches a few kilometers around her. Orn's blown away by the radius, and suddenly she realizes, that's how I used to know every group member's status back then. Orn tells Selma, "Trust me, no matter how you spin it, my ability is top tier," and Selma nods, thinking about him. Selma tells everyone they can call it a day, and promises tomorrow they'll sharpen their coordination in the maze on the lower floors. Then she pounds the plan in, meeting at 9 a.m. in the first squad room, like always. Will leans in and asks if they can still throw Orn a welcome dinner, and he pushes for them to eat together. Orn hesitates, asking if they really can, and Selma just shrugs. Why not? Will leans in and asks Orn if he's got a problem with it. Orn says he just needs to go shopping and asks if he can tag along later, and Selma fires back that if he's hunting for potions or magical tools, he doesn't have to, because they've already got plenty of their own. Orn blurts out that he wants a brand new sword for himself, because he got wrecked and lost 2 against the Black Dragon. Orn realizes he forgot to buy it yesterday, and now his create magic sword spell is wrecking the condition of a regular sword, so Will snaps that Orn has no weapon at all. Orn shoots back that he's lucky, he still has 1 sword left, but he'll need more, just in case, and Rain warns him that forging a sword can take several days. Orn snaps back that there's no point in waiting, he'll grab the sword today. Rain and Will stare at him, shocked, then demand to know how he's ready so fast today, wondering if he isn't training with custom weapons at all and just grabbing them on the spot. Orn fires back that he's only B-ranked, so they won't forge custom swords for him. He claims support magic lets him boost his blade's sharpness and toughness, so there's nothing to fear. Then Lucretia turns to Orn and asks if the sword's center of gravity feels weird in his hands when he's using a normal store-bought one. Orn shrugs it off and says, "It's fine, you'll get used to it, or fix it yourself." Then he smirks and adds, "I never buy anything I can't tweak or make right somehow." Rain bursts out that she gets it perfectly, "Of course I do." And then she declares that from today on for him, she's going to put herself in one of the best groups in the guild. She snaps at him, saying not to touch inferior gear, and warning him not to make a fool of himself. Rage blazing in her eyes, Riene yanks Orn by the hand and growls for him to follow her. Orn's jaw drops, pure shock hits him, because he can't believe what's going on, and the only thing running through his mind is, where are they hauling me? Rain lashes down as Rain yanks Orn by the hand, and the rest of the party scrambles after them. Orn's head spins as he can't stop wondering where she's dragging him. She yanks open the shop door and shouts at Alan, demanding he forge Orn a sword. Blacksmith Alan snaps around, nerves jangling, and blurts, "What happened?" because the first detachment hit him like a truck. The second Alan spots Orn, he blurts, "That's a dragon slayer," then slams a question, "Want me to turn Orn into a sword?" Rain nods and Orn just stands there in tense silence, looking painfully out of place beside her. Alan blurts out, asking if he's really going to fit in, and whether Orn even has his own blacksmith, while Rain stares in shock like, "Wait, you thought the same thing too." Rainix swears he's never touched a custom weapon, and the blacksmith's face drops in pure horror. He shouts to Orn for confirmation, "Is this really true?" And Orn blushes, admitting it's true, while the blacksmith slams a hand to his head, crushed by disappointment. Alan fires back, warning him he's gambling with his life, and then he won't let him dismiss this as an insult to ordinary blacksmiths. Instead, he asks how he's even supposed to swing a weapon that doesn't fit his hand right. Orn swears he never cared about guns, until someone snapped at him and changed his mind on the spot, and Rain rushes in to apologize, asking if she yelled too much. Orn straight up admits that up until now, it never even crossed his mind. He figured plain old swords would do the job too. Now that he's joined the guild and earned his spot in the first squad, the young man insists he has to swing a real good weapon, because if he doesn't, he'll totally let the whole crew down. Riene lights up at Oran's words, and the kid turns to Alan, asking if he'll forge him a sword. Alan grins and says, "Of course, I'd love to help." Will tells Orn, "You're lucky. This old man is the best blacksmith in our guild, and your weapon was forged by Alan himself, so you can bet the quality is guaranteed." Alan says, all sheepish, that people shouldn't hype him up so much. Then the blacksmith cuts in, "One issue," and Orn will immediately ask what it is. Alan slams it straight. A real good sword won't be forged with scraps. It has to be hammered from top-notch materials pulled from the labyrinth's deepest depths, but he doesn't have those yet. So he points the way and says, "Then we're going down into the deep levels to grab what we need. No shortcuts, no other way." The whole group snaps, insisting this should have been handled from the start, and Elaine immediately apologizes. Then Orn shakes it off and goes, "Seriously, it's totally not a problem." The young man blurts that he scavenged a pile of stuff from the deep floors, then slaps the goods on display. And when the whole team and the blacksmiths lay eyes on it, shock hits them like a punch. Luca blurts out, "There's so many." Selma leans toward Orn and asks, "Why are you hauling all this stuff?" Orn says he gathered it back when he was with the hero group, then admits he never once used it. Rain starts wondering if the other heroes have enough magic stored away too, and Orn just shrugs. Yes, they probably burned through it already. He shrugs and says Luna probably never even touched them. She's always burning cash, then explains the truth. Those thrift finds are basically scrap, turned into magical gear and sold off somewhere. Orn leans in and asks Alan if he can forge a sword out of it, and the blacksmith just grins, saying he can do it without a single problem. He asks Orn if he's really certain he can use it, and the boy grins, saying once it's in his hands, everything turns into a razor-sharp weapon, so Orn has nothing to worry about. Lucre lights up when she spots the claws of a griffin and the fangs of a manticore, and then she sees a darker thing too, so she moves in on Orn and asks about the black material. Orn snaps back that those scales were from the black dragon he'd already wiped out, and the second the team hears it, nerves hit them like a wave. Or clocks that his comrades have stiffened up, and Selma blurts out an apology. She says she was so shocked that every word vanished from her head. Orn can't shake the fact that the guys from the first squad lost their comrade in that battle, so for them, that memory is pure pain. Orn panics thinking, maybe I shouldn't have yanked out those scales. Then Rain spots his confusion and blurts out, if we used the black dragon scales, that sword would have looked insanely cool. She turns to Alan and asks what he thinks, and Alan grins, swearing he'll forge the best sword around. Rain grins at the blacksmith, saying she can't wait for it, while Warren mutters that he doubts she'll stay calm enough to handle a black dragon, yet he figures that just looking at the beast tells her exactly what he's feeling. Selma spots how perfectly everything fits in his magical storage and instantly wonders, does he keep more than just the deep floor loot in there? Then she presses him, asking if he's already blown past the storage limit. Orn shoots back that he didn't go past it, and that this storage is special. Orn tells them that when he was surrounded by heroes, he carried every scrap of material he collected himself, because even a normal magic storage couldn't hold that much. Orn tells us he tracked down a craftsman he knew, and begged him to forge a magical storage for him, one with a capacity several times bigger than normal. Selma blurts out, stunned, "Can we really order this?" Like she can't believe it, wondering if only the legendary craftsman, Coverdale Evans, is capable of making it. The girl pleads with Owen to introduce her to him, but Owen shakes his head, apologizes, and tells her flat out that he can't. He tells them this was the condition. No rule, no creation. And Owen snaps that he has to guard his identity and the instrument's magical formula with his life, so all he'll say is that its storage capacity is way bigger than usual. Then he shuts them down and begs them not to pry. Selma sighs and admits it's a real shame, but there's nothing left she can do about it. Alan leans in and asks Orn if he's cool with the black dragon scales becoming the sword's main material. Orn just nods and says he's totally fine with it. Alan asks everyone to tell him right away if any other requests pop up, and Will drops the bomb. Turns out the welcome party is postponed. Or he shows up to apologize to Will, only for Will to shut it down and say he shouldn't have to. Lucretia blurts that she and the others are dying to see the sword Alan will forge. Rain nods right along, and Selma grabs Orn and warns him to make sure Alan hears every wish he's got. Orn shot a grin at the guys from the first squad, and as he did, it hit him. This was the moment he first crossed paths with Alan. Orn kept bragging about his perfect sword, while Alan let out a few irritated grumbles. Then Alan snapped, "Are you actually serious?" And Orn shot back, "Of course I am, this is a custom-made blade." Oren guessed it would take him a month, but Alan hit him with a request: get everything ready to seal the spell into the sword. So Oren grinned and promised he'd handle it with zero trouble. Orn stews over it, how Alan swallowed every one of his dumb wishes, then seethes and mutters it all in his head. Orn swears he gave Alan everything he needed, because now he's gripping the sword Alan forged with his own hands. He knows the clan runs it like a strict pipeline. The researchers grab the materials first, hand them to the research management department, and only then do the artisans get everything in big batches, so they never get anything straight from the researchers themselves. Oren finally clicks that he's not just helping out, he's become a full-on researcher for the Silver Rabbit in the Night Sky Guild. He thinks it through, now he's finally free to breathe, not worrying about the sword anymore, and then he decides to prep for tomorrow before slipping into bed. Oren hurries to his room and freezes. There's something waiting in the mailbox. He remembers Estella promised she'd send word about the newcomers straight to him. He flips through a document in the dead of night, profiles of the new recruits for the Silver Rabbit's 10th squad, and when he hits the names, Sophia, Caroline and Logan flash in his mind, and it finally clicks. It's them. Orn can still hear Estella telling him she's happy he went for it, because that's exactly what the kids were craving. Orn watched them from the sidelines and instantly saw it. Something heavy clung to all three of them, but he couldn't change a single thing. The young man snaps and declares that things are finally different. This time, he's going to do everything right. He sits at his room table, scans the documents, and spots a brand new message from Estella hiding in the stack. In the letter, Estella swore she'd kept her word and mailed a list of fresh arrivals, then admitted it was heavy, depressing news, but insisted they had to know every bit of it. After he finishes the whole letter, she asks him for feedback, and Orn can't shake the way her words hit him, like something heavy, dark, and depressing was stamped into every line. He stares at the documents and realizes the second section is a quick history of every group member, while the third section lays out the profiles of everyone in the 10th group. He starts reading the group's short bio and snaps to the idea that since they're new he has to dig for intel. Then his eyes lock on the story sheet in his hand, because it's all about Logan. It says Logan Hayward was born in November of 614 in a tiny Irish village in the southern Hitanto kingdom, and his magic talent flared like crazy even as a kid. Then, at just 12 years old, with the villagers backing him, he stormed out alone for Suttrell to chase his dream as an explorer. Orn hears that when his clan began recruiting new members, he jumped at the chance, and the moment he joined, he showed what he could do. So they handed him the reins as the leader of the 10th group. Orn spots Logan's solo leap into exploration, sees him pull it off, and decides, yeah, he's got a good one. Orn remembers how bandits tore his and Oliver's village apart, but Logan already has a home, people that back him every day, and Orn can't shake the feeling that puts an insane weight on Logan. Orn admits it plainly: you can talk all day about innate talent, but without Titanic-level effort, talent goes nowhere, and Logan, that young man is sure he'll grow into a powerhouse researcher someday. Orn scans the files on Logan, finds zero doom in them, shrugs it off, and hops straight into Sophia's story. The documents claim Sophia Claudel was born in December 614, in Nojatanto's kingdom, right in the city of Dalawan. Orn can't believe it. After her mother, a servant, died giving birth, they tore her away and dropped her into the Claudel family. But there, Madame Claudel crushed her again and again, and by the time she turned 10, she was finally sent to a school for aristocrats. Orn learns that her half-sister Selma, someone she'd actually been getting along with, had already wrapped up her studies, and once Selma was forced to leave home, Madame Claudel started treating Sophia like trash. The papers say the moment Selma heard about it, she snapped into action, pulling Sophia into the clan so she'd cut ties with her family. And then Sophia herself voiced her dream to become a researcher, so they made the call to slot her into the 10th detachment. Oran admits straight up that this story already feels brutally dark. He can't stop thinking about Sophia and Selma, because it hits him that they're half-sisters, yet they've always played nice like real siblings, and he admits he never saw it coming. He figures the nightmare is finally done because Selma protected Sophia, and he decides he wants nothing but the best for her, so he steps up, goes digging through the documents about Caroline, and puts himself in position to back her. He reads that Caroline in Jeroth was born in March of 615, no one knows where, and somehow she can even self-heal. Orn is stunned, those Tsukuramen bastards locked her up for years. Orn spits out that the Chusa Karaman order is a terrifying demonic cult straight out of legend, and then he remembers. These freaks worshipped Zedlobag and would do anything to resurrect him. The young man realizes nobody even knows if Salabog is real, or if he can be brought back, but one thing's clear. That organization was pure darkness, running brutal experiments on people, soaking their hands in blood and building a mountain of evil. He remembers how they even raided small towns and villages, torching them to ash, and he swears this one is just another monster hiding in the biggest evil order of all. Orn's going to be left stunned, wondering what kind of hell Caroline had to survive. In September of 627, he reads that their clan was ordered to wipe out a Sukkaraman order base. Then they cracked it open and dragged her straight out of the order's dungeon, and Albert from the first squad was the one who did the rescue. The documents claim that from the moment they found her, her injuries prove she was treated inhumanely the whole time. He reads the shocking news. After the rescue, her mind still won't settle. She hasn't recovered. They keep pushing her treatment anyway, and then it hits. She's been promoted into becoming a researcher, with a decision made to place her in the 10th group. Orn clenches the documents in his fist and feels that sick realization hit. This is the same grim story again. He fumes at how monstrous they treated a person with self-healing, and he can't even begin to picture the nightmare she had to survive. Orn knows that the ache in her heart won't ever truly fade, and he remembers the moment she was ready to charge straight into any danger. Oren realizes it wasn't only the brutal days inside that cult that broke her, it was also Albert's death, because he was the one who saved her, and losing him clearly tore open the wound. The moment he notices her carefree smile, he realizes it's hiding a past so dark it could swallow the light. Orn is convinced he's cracked the truth about these three's past. From this day forward, he's stepping in to train them and keep a close eye on their condition. Orn stacks every document in one place, then tells himself, "Easy, I've got this," and braces to coach the new recruits on how to survive the labyrinth and carry the weight of being a leader. He snaps to the truth. If he fails, he's done for, just useless. And then he runs it back again, swearing that if they trust him and count on him, then he'll give everything he's got. He realizes there's nothing he can do right now, so he shrugs it off, then decides that tomorrow he'll wake up early and hit the library in the morning, because there's gotta be something useful waiting there. The very next day, Luca shows up at the gathering spot with a grin and practically declares, "Guess what, I'm first again today." Orn doesn't even lift his eyes from his book. He just throws out a good morning to her, and Lucretia freezes in shock, stunned he's up already. She shoots him a question, "Have you been reading since this morning?" And he grins back, saying he's got some free time. Then she spots a mountain of books stacked there and her jaw drops. Lucretia stared at the pile of books and grilled Orn, "Are you really gonna read all of them?" And Orn snapped back that he'd already finished most, with only 2 left, meaning he'd still have just enough time. Lucretia gasps in horror, asking if he really stayed up all night reading, and then slaps down the next fear. He's planning to hit the labyrinth today. Orn insists he's totally fine, he slept great, and since 7 a.m. he's been camped out with his books, and the girl just stares in pure disbelief like, "How are you reading all that?" Orn shoots back that he can read at lightning speed, so she knows he truly tore through every bit. Then he thinks about how, to be useful, he chose to study the clam's knowledge the very next morning. Lucretia can't stop marveling. Reading that much in just an hour and a half is downright shocking, and while she does, the book lifts and floats in the air. Right in front of Lucretia's eyes, that book shot through the air and thumped onto a pile of others, and she blurts out that it was flying, demanding if Orn used his magic just now. Orn nods, then says he's done it, but there's no name for it. He whips the books into the air and insists only light things can float. And yeah, it's still super convenient too. The girl lights up, says she's never seen anything like it, and blurts out that not 1, but 2 books are flying at the same time. Lucretia says it's insanely awesome, and Orn can't stop thinking about the clan's secret techniques. because sure, there are hidden masters, but not many people actually have rare magic. Someone bursts into the room and hits Orn and Lucretia with a sharp greeting. Rain fumes because Lucra's voice carries even down the corridor, then snaps, "What's all this noise? It's been going since early morning." She spots the books hovering in midair, jabs a finger at them and blurts, "It's flying." Then her voice cracks as she shrieks, "No, it's a ghost." Lucretia leans in and whispers to Orn, "Rain's terrified of ghosts, but inside this labyrinth it doesn't flinch." Then she bursts into laughter and drops, "I've got an idea." Luca grabs Rain in a tight hug and whispers that he's scared of ghosts, and Rain blurts, "Wait, are you serious? A real ghost?" Orn clocks how easily she buys it, smirks and decides to enjoy the show, while Rain insists to Luca, "It's totally fine." She snaps that her sister will shield her, then draws a blazing magic circle packed with attack spells, and Orn's face drains of color as horror hits. Orn throws himself at Rain, apologizes fast, then snaps that it's no ghost. It's his magic roaring through the air, and he demands she stop right now. In that exact moment, Orn's gut told him the truth. Rain wasn't just weather, it was a mage with terrifying power. Orn blurts out that his magic yanked the books away, so that's why they're flying, and insists Luca misread the whole thing too. Rain finally admits they scared her, and Luca and Orn decide they have to stop haunting her with ghosts. Selma shows up at the meeting spot, flashes a greeting to the boys, then Rain steps in too, greets her right back, and points out that she's arrived dead on time. Selma bursts in and tells the team, "I had to run to the research department about our trip." She beams and declares that today's all about teamwork. Orn's joining them, and she decides to start gathering monster materials, then immediately calls for a briefing because they'll need to coordinate. Will says one briefing won't cut it, and Lucra leans in, asking what they're going to hunt. Selma grins and says they're going after the poisonous sheep's wool, so they'll drop all the way down to the 86th floor. Orn warns that the poisoned sheep is a true monster. Thick wool clings to it like armor, and when it exhales, black smoke pours out to freeze the body of whoever breathes it in. He figures out the poisonous sheep's wool is insanely tough and stretches like a dream, so everyone loves using it, and it even ends up stitching the uniforms for the Silver Rabbit researchers in the night sky. Selma pulls the team together to lay out who will do what in the battle, and she kicks it off by firing up support magic first. She declares she'll take charge of almost all the support magic, tells Oren she's already caught on to his huge buffs and his special support magic, then pushes him to not just assist, she wants him fighting too. Orn realizes that with yet another buffer, Selma's load feels way lighter now. Selma then says that Orn and Rayna's main job is to man the fence. She tells Will to lure the monsters in carefully, and promises the healing magic will land on Lucra only if he needs it. Then she turns to her and asks her to help the attackers. Selma says she'll lean on buffs to shield the whole group, and that they're sticking to this plan no matter what. The girl says she's already been to the 86th floor a bunch of times, but she still won't let anyone slack off. She insists this is Orn's first run with them, then turns to the whole group and practically demands, "Give it everything you've got." Orn nods and says, "Yeah, and this is my first time going in as a swordsman too," so he braces himself, knowing he'll have to learn how the monsters move before he even dares to relax. The young man realizes this is his first real plunge into the maze of the role he wants, so he squares his shoulders, refuses to disappoint the people who took a chance on him, and commits with everything he's got. Right at the labyrinth entrance, Orn hears someone shout, "So you're a dragon slayer?" Then the explorers murmur to each other that they've heard he wiped out a black dragon all by himself. Then someone leans in and asks, "Are you one of the rabbits?" They keep talking, convinced he just arrived, until someone blurts out, "Wouldn't it be smarter for him to join the heroes?" One researcher chimes in that he joined the rabbits because he wanted to stay close to the front lines, and Luca just smirks. He's already famous among them. Luca claims he's the real deal, but Warren snaps back that the rumor's spreading way too fast. The young man snaps to it. Nobody seems to know the heroes just face-planted, and he's convinced those aristocrats funding them slammed the brakes on any news before it could leak out. Oren decides that he and the Silver Rabbits will sprint after them and catch them fast. Orn's got it clear in his head. He's going down with them to the 94th floor, and he's sure he'll slam right back into the heroes group. On the 86th floor, the team plunges into the southern Great Labyrinth, and right when they think they're deep enough, Lucra insists it's even farther underground. Then she still can't help marveling at the gorgeous view. Orn explains that the middle floors of the labyrinth can look like nothing special, just normal caves, but once you push deeper, the place opens up fast, and on the 86th floor alone, more than 70% is swallowed by forests and plains. Rain says the first time she dropped onto this floor, she was thrilled to death. Lucre snaps back, disappointed, because that's when the awful realization hits. A crackling magical ball shoots straight at the team, and the girls instantly shriek, because it feels like the magic is coming at them from right behind. Selma barks an order and Will surges with the courage to go, Then he nods and says, "Yeah, I'm going." Will slams straight into the magical blast, yanks out his weapon, and freezes when he realizes it's a polar blade, because this weapon is absurdly rare and brutally hard to master. Will lunges in with his weapon, and the strangled Oren realizes, too late, that he's already blocked the magical bolt. Selma tells Lucretia she's already found Luca, and then, bam, Lucretia fires off a flash spell. Luca declares he'll unleash the light to pinpoint the enemy's location, while Selma slaps magic boost onto Rain. Then the girl gratefully thanks Luca and Selma. Rain lights up with excitement and declares she'll kick off a massive fireworks display to celebrate Oren joining their team. Then she casts her spell, Explosion. Rione blasts a massive explosion at the exact spot where the enemy was meant to be, and the whole area erupts. Orn is stunned to learn it was a surprise attack, yet they still snapped into action fast enough to stop it, and Lucre just smirks. "We're the strongest silver abbots for a reason." Selma blasts the truth. They were probably hit by an earth dragon, and it might still be breathing, so she orders the whole team to stay on guard. Orn can't believe it. He's sure he's just proved once again that their team of researchers is the real deal. The young man clocked how fast Selma and Rain were firing spells, especially Rain, and he couldn't stop asking himself how she could unleash Explosion, that special level magic, in a single second like it was nothing. Orn figured the spell would take a normal mage twice, or even 3 times longer, but he expected nothing less from a battle-tested researcher. Orn swears Will is a flawless dual-blade fighter, so when that projectile comes flying in, he shrugs it off, dodges like lightning, counters in the same breath, and even pushes the enemy's blows away, which makes Orn realize he's got a true vanguard on his hands. Luca has a loaded stash of magical power, and honestly, you'd expect nothing less from someone like her, because she's not just deadly at long range with ranged attacks, she's a top-tier magic user who can keep enemies at bay. As the team charges straight at the monster tearing into them, Orn suddenly locks in, these aren't strangers, they're his rock-solid comrades. Luca fires questions at Selma. What are they going to do about the earth dragon that just attacked them? Selma leans in and says the monster is alone. She fires a question at Orn, can he hold his movements back? Orn grins and says he'll rein them in easily, no sweat. Orn knows the earth dragon is basically a weakling among dragons, so as long as he keeps the initiative and gets the chance to fight, that threat won't stand a chance. Selma pushes them forward, insisting this is how they strike. Orn and Will are gonna be the driving force in the hunt for the dragon. Selma tells Rain to hold back on the magic, then adds that if she's needed, she'll jump in instantly, so Rain shoots back that she gets the order. Selma slams Will with a Vanguard ability boost. 6 buff spells fused into one crushing combo. Oren finally clocks it. 1 triple boost to his agility is all he needs to dominate. Soma blurts that it's all set, and the hunt kicks off, while Orn will charge straight at the enemy to throw the first blows. Will shoots forward to distract the dragon and begs Orn to get behind him. Orn nods and agrees, right on cue. The monster senses his will, and the boy grins and yells, "Great, come to me." Then he launches his attack with his weapon. Will snaps at the monster to stay put, and Orn fires back that he knows exactly how to freeze creatures like that. Orn sprints straight at the dragon, panicking that his time is almost up, until he spots something charging toward him. Orn sharply darts out of the way, eyes blazing, wondering what the hell just ripped past him. Orn snaps to the truth that Turtle is a camouflage one. He explains that it's a magical beast lurking through the labyrinth's lower floors, shifting its body color to blend in perfectly, then striking with ruthless surprise, but it doesn't hit nearly as hard as a real threat. Orn realizes that teaming up with other magical monsters could turn them into real threats, so he pulls back, leaving the turtle behind as the rearguard. Orn snaps at Selma that she's on them, then fires stone arrows. Selma whips around and orders the girls to stare at where Orn struck, because a camouflaged turtle is right there. Oren lets out a triumphant grin, then unleashes strength increase, technique increase, and finally blade enhancement to push his power past the limit. He charges straight at the dragon, and blasts it with instant power the moment he attacks. Will stares in shock as Orn slices him cleanly in half. Will insists that this instant burst of power is no joke, and Orn shoots back a grateful thanks, because he managed to pull the monster's focus right onto himself. The boys trade worried guesses about what's in store for the turtle, and then Rain hurls the fire spear spell boom. An explosion tears through the scene. Will says they can finally breathe easy, but Orn shuts it down instantly and refuses to let anyone relax. Orn grins and swears, this isn't finished. Then Will clocks another magical blast streaking right for them and shoots back. Looks like it's not. The magical blast erupts like a wildfire, but Orn rockets backward and, right on the brink, realizes another magical monster is hiding in the shadows. He spots the monster and instantly realizes it's the same earth dragon, again. Orn still can't shake what he saw, him slicing another earth dragon clean in two, so he clocks the situation fast, realizes these guys are the deadliest kind of threat, and decides to strike them head-on instead of hanging back with the rearguard. Orn admits he's pumped that Will caught the attack too. Selma gushes that Orn and Will are awesome, and Will adds that him and Orn click perfectly as a team. Orn nods and blurts, "That's it," then clocks the truth. Selma's power is what's letting the whole group talk through their minds. Selma declares that she'll be firing off orders through her mind from here on out. Then she turns to Orn and demands, "Can you handle telepathy?" Orn shoots back, "Of course I can handle it. I used to be in the hero group and telepathic comms. That's nothing to me." Selma says she expected nothing less from him. Then she snaps, Will and Orn go on ahead, and once he's pinned, Luca and Rain unleash magic on him. The crew nods like, "Got it," and Selma snaps, "All right, start now." She swings a spell at Will, demanding he do what she says. Then Will shoots back that she doesn't get to order him around. Selma launches a dimensional jump, and Oliver slams into place right in front of the Earth Dragon. The boy bursts out that it's perfect, and Oren's jaw drops as Selma pulls off a dimensional jump. So smooth, so fast, like it's nothing. Orn and Will rush in to take down the monster, and Will shouts that they'll hold it off. So Orn snaps back without hesitation and throws himself into the fight. Selma fires up the pre-attack report, and she makes it loud. Every squad member is ready to go. The Earth Dragon is trapped, and Luca blurts that he's caught, so he won't twitch now, while Rain snarls that she'll finish him off. Rain slams Thunder Hammer into the fight, and Lucretia whips out her Ice Spear spell. A dragon gets hit by 2 spells at once, and boom, an enormous explosion tears the sky open.